Our power is in our voice. Our power, it's in our thoughts. Our power is in our actions. Our power, it's already innate in who we are. We are the earth. We are the sky. We are the trees. We are our ancestors. We are the future generations. We are all that is.
All right, welcome back to day 2, part 2 of the People's Reset 2026. If you're here in the room with me, make some noise. Let everybody at home know how you're having a good time. Yeah. Did anybody enjoy a workshop during the break? Enjoy some good food? Has anybody got to explore Morelia at all and go see the cathedral and the architecture? It's a beautiful place. You guys enjoying the weather? Getting away from the snow? Awesome. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you everybody at home for tuning back in. Again, we're here till Sunday night. Live every day for free. You can watch all of the talks from yesterday. They're already posted on the Odyssey channel. If you go to odyssey.com and search the People's Reset or just visit our website, you'll see the direct link to that. And in the coming weeks and months, we'll be putting up all the talks in Spanish as well. I mentioned this yesterday that I believe we have probably the largest archive of solutions-focused talks in the world because we've been doing this event since January 2021. This is our 8th activation, 7th in Mexico, 1 in the UK. So that's over 200 hours of solutions-focused talks that are available for free in English and in Spanish. So if you know people who are looking for ideas, looking for solutions, and are tired of just doom scrolling and thinking about how bad the world is, tell them about the People's Reset, all right? All right, we're going to continue our journey. We've talked this morning about hemp. We've talked about how to turn waste into abundance. We talked about Rancho Pura Vida, which is very near here. And we're going to continue the journey, hearing from some of my friends who are actually coming from Houston, Texas, where I'm originally from. They are involved with working with mushrooms and being at farmers markets and really just getting involved locally. Who here recognizes the importance and the value of getting involved in your local community, wherever you're coming from? Everybody, right? We see that. And that looks different to different people in different ways. So Sean and Jen Hawkins are going to come up here and they're going to share with you guys about how they've been getting involved in Houston, promoting their organic mushroom extracts, getting involved in farmers markets, and so much more. So please give them a warm welcome, Jen and Sean Hawkins, to the stage. Thank you, guys.
All right. Hello. All right. Hello, Morelia. Thank you guys for inviting us back again. This is a very beautiful city. I'm just impressed every time I come here. I definitely think the food is my favorite. You cannot find things like this in Houston. We had the octopus, and it tastes like rubber in Houston. And here it tastes like food.
Yeah.
So,
it was delicious here.
Yeah, this time I brought Jen with me. Everyone say hello.
Hi, guys.
All right. My name is Sean Hawkins. I'm technically called a soil smith. I've been in horticulture for over 15 years. Originally started in cannabis. Then I moved to food. And from there, I started studying soil science because I really wanted to make the food as healthy as it could be. And I started diving in to, where's the slide here? Yeah, first slide, second slide. There we go. I started getting into soil science because we have a severe problem in this country, actually around the world. The nutritional density of our food has drastically declined over the last 100 years. Essentially, you have to eat 5 carrots to equal the nutritional value of 1. And this is because we have destroyed our soils. The life that's in the soil is required for life in the food. So I started to learn about different farming methods. 2 of those methods, one called Jadam, G-A-D-A-M, and another one called Korean natural farming, KNF. Everyone could go look these up online right now. They are free. If you have a farm or if you're starting a market garden, these are excellent ways to get into farming. They're very, very low cost and accessible to anyone. You could do Jadam in Africa in the middle of nothing. That's how accessible it is. So everyone go check that out. Along the way, we were on a journey to healing from COVID. That was kind of my pivot point when I sort of awoke into all of this. And that's when I met my wife, when I was studying Korean natural farming. And when I first met her, she was on a slew of mental health medications. She was definitely deep into the pharmaceutical realm. And at the same time, my mom actually was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so just being an independent person, I had to do whatever I could to try and help them. And through my study, I found mushrooms. It was one of the only accessible things that actually had true medicine in it. It was something I could grow. It was something that was everywhere. It was abundant. And so we started Cultivated Mind, our mushroom extract company, because now Jen is off of all of her pharmaceutical medications.
I know. Yay.
Took about a year.
Yeah.
My mom is cancer-free.
5 years.
5 years now,
Yeah.
going on a remission, taking mushrooms still to this day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the path was obvious in front of us. I couldn't ignore how wonderful this was. So now this is our life's work. Now we grow mushrooms and we bring them to the people. But there was actually an issue that we had. When we grew, we created a lot of abundance. Mushrooms grow like crazy. They were growing out of our ears. It was insane how much you can produce in a short amount of time whenever it comes to fungus. And we made our extracts. I was piled up with mushrooms, but you can grow all day long, but still have a problem of being invisible. I can make the best extracts in the world. I can make the best mushrooms in the world, but if no one knows who I am, then it's not sustainable. You can't build community if no one sees you. And we had a major problem. We were actually about to go bankrupt. The company was pretty much a month away from being able to pay any bills. So I had to take some measures, and we started going to farmers markets, and it was the best thing we ever did. it completely turned everything around. It went from essentially a failed company to this is what I will be doing forever. And today we're going to show you guys how you can be your own farmers market vendor. We have a slew of vendors from our farmers market. They're going to give you guys some advice on how you can be your own vendor at a farmers market. And play the first video.
What's up? What's up? Hey, what's going on, man? In 1 second. Yeah.
So my name is Janae Brownie, and I am the second daughter of Brownie Farms. We've been doing farmers markets for 17 years, but my dad is a third-generation farmer, so he's been farming all of his life.
My name is Eli. My company is Freshly Squeezed by Elia, and we've been in business for about 8 months now.
We're Angel's Cocina. We've been in business for 2 years and 1 month.
So my name is Mitchell, and I am with Maya's Mediterranean Briskets, and I have been in business for about 4 years now.
My name is Jackie. I run this company with my husband. We are the Houston branch of SoCo Ginger Beer.
I'm Rob.
I'm Jessica. Our company is Signature Suds.
My name's Tracy. This is Animal Farm. We've been in Houston for like 25 years.
Do you sell at any other locations besides farmers markets?
So I sell at farmers market, and then recently I got a contract with the company to sell on their property.
And that was because of the farmers market, huh?
It was because of the farmers market. That's correct. Yes.
Do you think you would be able to have a restaurant, like a physical brick location?
I think at this point it's a premature idea for us, just because we're still exploring the area. But being at the farmers market has given us a lot of insight into establishing our own brick and mortar in the area.
If you had a choice, would you rather do farmers markets or do those types of restaurants or wholesale?
Probably farmers markets.
Okay.
The reason why I say farmers markets is because I get to actually connect with the people and actually tell the people how we make our drinks and how we we locally source everything.
So which one's more successful for you?
Markets.
Yeah.
I mean, wholesale is always good for that one initial transfer,
Yeah.
but then after that, markets.
Yeah. And then markets are always cool because you get to connect with the people directly. So you get to educate, you get to inform, and then hopefully change a life because people recognize, the products that you're making are really beneficial.
I change a lot of lives.
He changed this guy.
Restaurants buy our stuff, but no, generally farmers markets is where we do our business.
Right, yeah. Very popular and very sustainable. I think getting into farmers markets was the best decision I ever made. We tried to do a lot of online stuff, and it's okay, it kind of works, but the real consistency, real customers, you get to meet people right here at the farmers market. So
Absolutely.
The furthest I travel is Dallas. So that's about 250 miles from my house.
about a 4-hour drive.
4-hour drive, 2, and then 4 hours driving back. Shortest one is about 5 miles from my house, which is amazing.
That's your favorite one.
It's my favorite one. Yep.
So that's about an hour-ish away from here with no traffic, but with traffic, it's like an hour and 20 minutes from here.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still worth it to come out here then.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
We used to travel pretty far for markets, but when we first started, once we kind of found our people and we found the markets that we wanted to do, we kind of locked in a weekly schedule. So we have our weekly routine. People know where we're going to be at. So we've avoided the long drives now.
What was the biggest struggle you had establishing your business?
So there's a lot of high profile markets that a lot of vendors do very well, but they will not allow other vendors that are in the same category. That's the biggest struggle that I've encountered. And that's just in any category, even if you're selling remotely the closest item, which in my case, I'm selling lemonades. If I were to go to a market where they're selling aguas frescas, which is completely different than lemonades, they probably would turn me down just because they already have that established vendor selling those drinks.
I think Mother Nature is always going to be the biggest struggle that we face as a farm, but also in our area where our farm is the urban development and encroachment onto our farm. The surrounding farms and land is being bought up and divided into houses and subdivisions. So definitely a struggle.
I think we had to learn a lot from our customers. At the beginning, since we do, you see, we do a lot of spicy stuff. We thought that the Latino community was going to be our main customer, and we had to learn that Americans they love to eat. At least here in Texas, they love hot stuff.
What was your biggest struggle when you established your business?
Getting people to understand this is what they needed.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest
And
one.
I think getting people to trust it too, because I think when you're like, if you sell food or drink, it's one of those things, you taste it, you like it, you buy it, right? That instant gratification.
We
With
got
our
to prove
stuff,
that ours work.
right? Because people are very, locked into whatever they've been using. My mom used this, my grandmother used this. If it ain't broke, I'm not trying to change it. So really convincing people. I mean, we gave away a ton of stuff when we first started. Just try it. And then they come back and be like, oh my God, it really worked.
What is one of your biggest struggles when you built your business?
Getting the word out about it. It's definitely the marketing. The management part is not so much the struggle, or it wasn't the struggle. It's the getting the word out, making sure that people know what kind of products you have and what services you're offering. It seems to be probably the most challenging part when you're starting your own business.
I think once you get into it, it's hard to get people to believe in what you're doing, but just keep going and just keep at it. I think that's the best advice I can give.
I think researching your demographic, your target customer, really understanding like who needs whatever it is that you're offering, and understanding what that whole person looks like. We have teenagers with eczema, so they're at that age where they don't want to clean things anymore. So we're like, well, now we got something that's eczema friendly that you can clean with, so you can't get out of it. So, just kind of thinking of the whole customer and understanding, how it all works together.
Any advice to someone that wants to create a business and become a farmer's market vendor?
Start. I would say that's the main thing. Start.
So to me, what this sounds like is that we need more farmers markets.
Yeah, more farmers market, more community gatherings rather than going to those big box stores.
I feel like Houston actually doesn't have enough farmers markets.
Yeah.
For as big as it is.
For as big as it is, and comparing to other cities, we actually are at a deficit.
Yeah.
We could use a few more.
And I think like real, true farmers markets, as opposed to like some of the pop-up markets, and not to discredit those. I feel like those have a place. But I mean, when you're talking about fresh ingredients, produce, real farmers, we definitely need more.
How did you react to the COVID lockdowns?
So there was a lot of mainstream media that, kind of got to my family. And for me, I was not crazy about the lockdowns. I was just kind of like, okay, well, let's just go with the flow. But after a while, things didn't make sense. Things didn't add up. Like, why are you still wearing a mask? Why are you still not having to be, not allowing yourself to be within 6 feet of another person when, you see some government officials eating dinner or lunch in public, and you're kind of just like, why are they doing this to us?
If something like that was to happen again, how do you think you guys would react?
I mean, we continue to grow food and sell food and think of that as a way for us to build our bodies in a way that's healthy. And we will continue to do that.
Yeah. How did you guys react to the lockdowns?
So go ahead. You want it?
That was actually before we got into this. We had a laundry service, so we had that. About 4
That's
years?
where we started in 2017. Was our laundry service.
So we actually had that company, and we had to shut down for 2 months because we couldn't open, and we couldn't get the cleaning products that we needed for our service.
You couldn't get bleach anywhere.
So we were literally about to go out of business.
Yeah.
So that's when I got online trying to figure out how to make our own cleaning supplies and how to make them even better than what we were using.
Right.
And here we are.
If we created, let's say, a market that was resistant to lockdowns, would you guys come join us?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Great. Well, that's what we're trying to do. All right. We have some wonderful friends at the market. If you guys want to find some relationships and friendships, be a vendor at a farmer's market and talk to the people there. They're
That's where
all
our people
on our side.
are. Yeah, that's where our people are for sure.
You want to find your people, go to a farmer's market.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Where's the next slide? There we go. I have an interesting statistic for you guys. I don't know if you've ever heard this before.
Okay.
Did you know that 19 out of every 20 businesses go to bankruptcy? That's right. The vast majority of people who start businesses fail. And when you look at that number, 19 out of 20, it can be kind of demoralizing when you look at it. But the way my brain works, I tend to look at things a little differently. So when I see that number, I think I have 19 chances to become successful. And so do you. Every one of us has this power. We just have to change the way we look at it. So along the way, when I met Jen, she was an integral part of making this successful. If it wasn't for her, we would not be here today standing in front of you talking. So say hello to Jen.
Hi, guys. Okay, so I'm going to follow along with the vendor advice since we're vendors. But first, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So I have over 20 years experience in customer service and training. And I was working for a pharmaceutical company. I know. A big one. Yeah, it's the largest compounding pharmaceutical company actually in the States. And you could Google it if you want to know where I worked. So I was training the new onboarding Northern sales director. And he was like, "Why aren't you in sales?" And I'm like, "Because that's gross. Y'all can keep it." And he kept on and kept on and kept on. And eventually I did cross over and I went to sales, which I felt like I was crossing over to a darker side. And I was, but it also opened my eyes because when you join a sales team, you no longer just go to the regular company meetings. You're going to a special sales meeting. And eventually what I learned is that it wasn't about the people. It was about the bottom line. And I confronted our CFO about it. And he was like, "Well, don't you like that apartment you live in?" And about 3 weeks later, I gave my 2 weeks notice because thank you. Thank you. And it was scary because I was very good at my job. I was always number 2 or 3. And even though I was not number 1, number 2 and 3 in a pharmaceutical sales position is bringing in lots of money. So I went from like banking to hardly making anything, but it doesn't compare to the peace that I have because I could not continue to do what I knew then what we were doing to people. So I had lost all the conviction. I had lost all my authenticity in my conversations because I knew now that I was just killing people. We were not doing anything to really help people. And it's complicated because with compounding, which is what we did, they tell you, "Oh, we're so different. We're making specialized medications. We're helping people. We're helping people. We're helping people." But then you realize you're not. So.
Next slide.
All right. So we're going to talk about the elephant in the room. Nobody wants to talk about this. Sales. I'm sure everybody's like, "Oh, like nobody wants to do that." But there's a reason. Yeah, it's got an ick attached to it, but there's a reason there's an ick attached to it, and it doesn't have to be. And so I can teach all about that today. Okay.
When we talk about the mushrooms, things can get a little complicated. It's not like whenever you're having to talk about, when you make a food product, it's pretty straightforward. Does it taste good or not? And then someone buys it. When we're talking about mushrooms, I have to talk about lion's mane and its secondary metabolites and how they're beta-glutamines and they're really good for the gut biome as a prebiotic, and it grows out the beneficial bacteria which are responsible for the nerve development, dopamine and serotonin that goes in your body. And I was essentially just talking at people instead of to them. I'm a Capricorn, it's the way my brain works. And with the help of my wonderful wife, I became a much better communicator.
Okay, so we are going to talk about how to communicate better. But first, I have a question. So what do y'all think is the most powerful emotion shared between humans? Anybody? What do you think? Show of hands. Love? Okay. No. Show of hands. Hate or rage? Nope.
Couple.
Any other guesses? It's authenticity. So without authenticity, you cannot have love or even rage. You have to be authentic and true to yourself because people can feel that coming across the table. People can feel that in every any communication you have with them.
Gotta believe in it.
Right. So if you don't have conviction and you don't have authenticity about the products that you're selling at a farmer's market or anywhere, really, you're in the wrong job. I have walked away from jobs. You just heard me say I walked away from my corporate job. I worked there for 8 years, y'all. I had a retirement plan. I didn't care. I did not align with them anymore. So I've also walked away from jobs that I've been there for 3 days and I'm like, can't do this. Just walked out, you know? So that's what you have to be true to yourself, and it's okay to walk out. You're not quitting on something. You learn something about yourself. So, okay. So next is about making the connection. Okay. So it's as easy as giving someone a compliment. For example, I love your dress. Where did you get it? In Brazil. And that is a genuine compliment. It has to be genuine. I love it. It has beautiful embroidery. I would love to talk to you more about it after we finish here. But you have to be genuine or everyone can tell. So, and I think that's part of being true to yourself as well. It's also as simple as taking interest in someone, making eye contact, a simple nod, a smile. And once you've made that contact and you've been connected, now you need to build rapport. And building rapport looks like, how are you doing today? How are you enjoying the weather? I noticed you have kids. Are you a mom? Are you married? Really simple, just 2 of them, and it'll start conversation. It gives people an opportunity to talk about themselves. And the reality is people love to talk about themselves. So it helps build a relationship. And the next, and you're going to reinforce. So you need to repeat everything back to them that they've said to you. I hear that you're having a hard time with focusing. I hear that you're a mom of 3 and you're exhausted. What can I do to help you? Those are the things that you want to say to these people. And this will build like bonds with your clients. And they might turn into friendships that last forever. So a part of reinforcement is also emotional attunement. And emotional attunement is making sure you're on the same page with someone. So if somebody's looking sad and mopey and you're like, hey man, how's it going? And they're like, what the heck, right? You got to meet these people where they're at. It has nothing to do with you. This is a selfless act. You're looking at this human in front of you, reading them, looking at them, making eye contact with them, and you're making them feel like they're the only person in the room. And that is how you make these connections. Okay. And the reward. So I've made the most beautiful human connections through doing just this. I have clients that were mine when I worked in pharmaceuticals that I have been friends with now for over 10 years, and they're a part of my family. So it's rewarding. And then also, you get a huge dopamine hit and oxytocin hit when you're doing this activity.
After this speech, I'm gonna be like up there for like 2-3 hours.
So a lot of people, humans chase dopamine. That's what social media is all about. That's why we like to doom scroll. But this is a healthy way that you're connecting with humans and you're able to make lasting relationships. And also, I forgot what I was going to say. Hold on. Let's see here. Yeah, so dopamine and oxytocin, your brain literally lights up like Christmas because it's your brain rewarding your body for doing what you've done. And eventually the goal is to find your flow state. And now, like everything I've learned through all of my training, I've applied it to every human I've met. I include my parents, my spouse. It has helped me learn how to communicate effectively, make people feel like they've been seen and heard. And of course, that makes my life way easier as well, right? Because you can get your point across. So it's been rewarding. And if anybody would like to know a little bit more about sales, or I'd like to call it human connection, because sales is kind of gross. But if you would like to know about that a little bit more, let me know, and we can do an online class.
So we're gonna make a quick pivot here. Now that we have talked about how to be a vendor, we are going to talk about how to become a market owner. We did vendoring now for about 2 years. It's important that you become a vendor first. If you try to jump straight into being a market, you might make some mistakes that you might not be able to come back from. So I do suggest you start as a vendor so you can kind of learn the ropes. It's been immensely helpful for us to do that first. And there's a couple ways you can do this. Years ago, I actually owned a resale business where I would go around and buy people's garage sales. I would just buy the whole garage sale for like a flat rate. And then I would pop up in random places around the city and sell my stuff. Now what would happen is that for about 3 days, the city would come by and say, you are not supposed to be here. And I would say, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I apologize. I'll break everything down. And I break everything down and I'd move it to another city, pop it up. And about 3 days later, they'd say, hey, you're not supposed to be here. I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I'll break it all down. And I did this for a year. And it actually was pretty good. Of course, it's a hard life because you're in a constant move. And it's very consistent as well. It's a good place to start if you want to. But the real opportunity is in a permanent farmer's market. I want you guys to check out this. Ooh, where are we? Did we lose it again? There we go. When you check out these sort of the top 5 cities in America and the number of farmers markets they have, it's pretty stark, isn't it? Sure. LA, New York, many of them. Largest city, 30. Houston, where we live, 17. We are at a massive deficit of farmers markets right now. The opportunity for everyone to look around in your city for a farmer's market is massive. So we have had the pleasure of interviewing one of our market owners. Her name is Leanne Carlson. She runs, I would say, the best farmer's market in Houston. And would like you guys to enjoy what she has to tell you. Please play the video.
And they said, do a GoFundMe. And we were like, you don't understand. 14 people, 55 goods. It's not going to work. And enough people said, well, you don't have anything to lose. So we did it. And they did. They paid all of our bills.
Wow.
For 6 months.
Wow.
And in the end, it would get to the point where I'm like, we're out of hay. And next thing I know, a truckload of hay is being dropped off.
Showing up. That's beautiful.
If I was one of 700 labels, it never would have happened. But by being in the market, people would say, there's our milk person. And I think the attitude was, there are small farms going belly up every day. But if I can help that one farm, if I can help that farmer with those kids that I've seen grow up as I've bought cheese, I can do that one little thing. And that's what happened. But you have to be a face. You have to be there instead of just being a generic anonymous label.
Was there like maybe an aha moment for you where it was like, okay, this is what we have to do. This is what our path is pointing us towards, and we're now just sort of realizing it.
We felt like a city the size of Houston needed more than one solid market. It wasn't about competition. It was about the fact that this other market very literally could not bring in any more vendors than they already had. But there were so many.
essentially, she's going to go through some advice on how to be a market owner. And she has been doing this for about 10 years now. They have established themselves. They've been through a lot of ups and downs along the way. And she has, in fact, our interview was actually like an hour long. I had to really, really cut it down to make it fit in here. And she's a ton of great advice. What they're going to talk about is essentially some problems that they actually had with the city, which is we're all going to have problems with the government, and we're all going to have to face that and approach it from a calm and collective point of view. And if we do it as a community, it's not as hard as you think. As long as we have a goal, we have a path, we organize, the government can't shut down what we have going on.
Okay. We have people coming from Conroe, Richmond, Rosenberg, Clear Lake, League City. We have people coming in from the drive over an hour to shop here, not to vend, but to shop here. And that's really edifying to see the bike rack full of people with their bikes. We had a customer told us he's looking to buy a house in the neighborhood strictly so he could walk to the market. But
if you build it, they will come.
Yeah. But ultimately, the market succeeds because it's built community on a much broader scope.
Yeah, beautiful. How long did it take for that to really happen, for you to get the regular customers?
There's a little bit of serendipity. When we started putting out on Facebook that we were starting a market, it was going to be in this area, it's going to be at this time. What are you interested in seeing? This foodie group for this specific part of Houston just lit up. Within 48 hours, we had 1,000 likes, people following us. Beautiful. They were very engaged. It was still months away.
Yeah.
But they were sending us people. This is my tamale lady. Here's my shrimp person.
There you go.
And so they were a huge part of building traction for us, supporting us, but also helping us find vendors.
Beautiful. Okay.
And they've continued to be a very, very big support. And they were lifesavers during COVID.
Okay.
Because we stayed open, many restaurants were closed. They were instrumental in getting out word that we were still open, the vendors still needed support.
That's beautiful. I love that. Like having people come together that have the connections, can communicate with each other, tell you where to go, that hey, it's available here. These people are willing to be part of the community, regardless of the fear, because there's always going to be something around the corner, and once we start separating from each other, well, then it's all downhill from there, so.
Once we were here and that's the best part about seeing vendors coming in, is seeing them find their feet and do well and grow and expand and fall and get back up again. And it's just so awesome to know that if you've played a role in that. And so while it may have started by a need to make sure that our vendors were thriving because we didn't want them to quit because that hurt my income, the reality is it's also about that community. It's about wanting to see people do well, wanting to see people thrive. And then just the interconnection is just so exciting.
Yeah, all boats rise with the tide.
Absolutely.
We heard that you had a little bit of a problem with some not so honest health inspectors. And you actually had the community help with that issue. Can you explain what happened there and how the community helped?
We were never against involving the health department. That, we expected that this was going to happen. And we wanted a good working relationship with them. But then we started, some of their policies didn't make sense to us. Like if you did any kind of prepared food, they wanted you to have a temporary food event permit, which was good for 2 weeks and cost $80. So it's over $2,000 a year. And the things that they included in that seemed extreme to us.
They're talking about how whenever you do samples, you have to have a specific permit. And they were trying to charge vendors this permit that was only viable for 2 weeks. So in the end, it would cost them almost $3,000 a year just to hand out samples, which if you look on the books, this is actually illegal for them to do. And when they brought this up to them, the inspector was like, well, that's not the way our lawyers read it. So of course you get into this battle where you can talk to them all day long. And what they would try to do is they would say things like, well, you don't have your 3-wash hand sink set up, so we're going to have to give you a fine for that.
30 minutes before the market starts.
Yeah, 30 minutes before the market starts,
yeah.
By the way. And he said, but we won't write you up if you pay us a fine right now in cash.
Yeah.
Yeah. And essentially what we found out, and through their own words, is they were there for income generation. They didn't care about, protecting the community. And you could tell because if they were actually viably trying to vet these vendors, then they would have shown up more often to make sure the permits were correct, but they weren't. They were only showing up when it was convenient for them to come collect fees. So they started a change.org petition, and they got all of the customers involved in this. And they also got the media involved. They got all these foodie Facebook groups involved. And there was such a huge pushback that one day, Leanne gets a phone call from the mayor saying, we fired him. Too much pressure. And and they have never been back again.
Yeah.
If we just stand together, if we communicate, if we develop community, we can push back against anything, especially whenever it comes to food. Everyone has to eat. And again, so this interview was actually quite long. It was about an hour. I had to really cut it down. And if you guys are interested in seeing the whole thing, we're probably going to post it on our social media as well. She has a lot of really great advice for market owners, people that want to start their own thing. And the next slide. And if you guys like to go to our website, you don't have to buy anything, but go to the contacts page or go down to the bottom and put your email in. We are going to be showing you guys how to start your own farmers market. We have had the pleasure to be asked to start our own right down the street from our house. We're in preliminary talks. We haven't done any of the details yet, but with the help of Leanne and the help of our community, and if you guys would like to follow along, come join us. We're going to show you step by step how to create your own farmers market in your local community. We'll go through all the ins and outs, all the problems, all the success. We'll also do some live Q&As so that you guys can get your questions answered. And again, Jen might do a communications class as well.
Yeah. Let me know.
Yeah.
I've been doing training for years. It's my favorite part of my job. I love to train people. It is so much fun. So if anybody wants training on that, and maybe we could like a QR code for this event, we could do a completely free class. That would be wonderful. Yeah.
Yes. So please.
Yay.
Everyone, come join us. We are going to start community. We are going to have prosperity.
Yeah.
Come join us at the People's Market.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Keep the applause going for Jen and Sean Hawkins, everybody.
Thank
you guys so much for coming, brother. Appreciate
Thank
you
you
guys.
so much.
Great job. All right. I love their mushrooms. Highly recommend going to check them out in the vendors area if you got a chance. All right. Well, I want to bring up a friend for a moment. We're going to talk about an event we're doing tonight. Who was here for the networking yesterday? Did y'all check out the networking after lunch? We had a little session. There's going to be another networking session tonight, this evening, at the hotel bar, and it's going to be part of a Logos Circle. One of our sponsors is Logos. Logos.co is the website, and we're going to learn more all about that right now. Go ahead and tell us all about it.
Bueno, you prefer I say in Spanish? No? Okay, in English. Okay, Logos is blockchain, but for us, technology is just a tool. What we are building is we are building decentralized communities, and we are seeking or looking to build a parallel societies using blockchain. to have an exit from all these institutional crises and what we've been talking here since yesterday. Okay, we also have a proposal to you. It's to build a community and build our parallel institutions using technology, blockchain technologies. So the way we are doing it is we gather in circles, we call it circles, different cities across the world, and we meet and we discuss our problems and we think on solutions. And well, in these meetings, what Logos does is like support the development of these solutions, no? Right? Like, and then we want to start solving problems at the local level and something we can strengthening our civil society, restoring values of liberty, digital freedom, sharing,
who's
etc.
familiar with Freedom Cells, real quick? Who's heard me talk about Freedom Cells? What they're doing with Logos and what they call circles is very similar, and we're starting to partner up. What she's describing is they want to create local circles in different spots. They're already doing it. And so part of the networking tonight, if you want to come learn more about Logos, and if you know who Sterling Lujan is, he's one of our speakers on Saturday. He was supposed to be here in person, but Sterling can't make it in person because of the weather. So she's here from Mexico City representing Logos. And so tonight at the bar, we're going to hear all about it and learn more.
I'm going to expand. So yeah, sorry,
No,
long story short. I want to invite you all at 5:30 in Hotel Cantalagua, and we discuss more about Logos and circles. And also I want to invite you to scan the QR of Farewell to Westphalia. Farewell to Westphalia is a book written by Jared Hope, one of the founders of Logos. And well, it's a very delightful reading where you can, it's combining how blockchain is an exit, and it starts by saying that our institutional technology is obsolete. So we need to find new governance structures. So it's a very nice reading. It's downloadable. You can download it directly from our website. And I also want to invite you, we have the Parallel Society Festival. It is going to happen in Lisbon, March 5, 6, and 7, where we are also going to continue the discussion, hacking underground, development, prototyping, and our ideas. So if you can make it, we'll invite you to, we will meet there.
Yeah, I hope to make it to Portugal. Check that out. And everybody at home, do scan that QR code, and you can go to logos.co to learn more and see if there's a circle in your area. And again, you'll learn more at 5:30 at the hotel bar, and then there'll be a little networking session. And I believe they're going to be giving out some drink tickets for anybody who wants a drink or two. So come hang out there and see us there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, y'all ready for some more knowledge? Got a couple more talks that we're going to be getting into tonight. So I'm really excited for this next speaker because, you know, one of the best things for me is throughout the year, Miriam and I, we're always scouting for really awesome, cool people doing good things, and we want to bring them here. But every now and then a friend will tell me, you need to check out this person. They're doing good work. They need to be there. And so I always appreciate that recommendations. And this one came from Brother Dub FX, who will be performing on Saturday, and said, hey, this is a friend of mine. She needs to be at the People's Reset. She's got something special going on. So please give a warm welcome to Elizabeth Burdock, also known as Witch Betty.
Excuse me, cough. Hi, friends. Thanks so much for everyone for being here. My name is Elizabeth Burdock, and like you said, some of you may know me as Witch Betty. My talk today is called Roots of Resistance, How Reconnecting with Nature Restores Freedom. So I've never done this before. I've never stood on a stage talking to people. I've actually never even worn a headset like this. I'm not a scholar. I'm not a guru. I'm not a member of the academy. I'm just a person who lived a lot of my life in fight or flight. And I survived because I made a conscious decision to fight. I'm a naturalist content creator, which sounds a little bit weird, but I create content for internet platforms teaching about like plant relationships and how to stay closer to nature. I feel the best way to teach you or tell you about how I made these relationships with plants is to overshare a little bit about where I came from. I was raised on a place called Bowen Island, which is a little island. Yay! It's a little island in British Columbia. And when we moved there, I'm not even going to say when, but it was a while ago. But there was about 800 or so people that lived there. And we lived in an even more rural part of this rural island. It was really rare that I saw anyone, and exceptionally rare if I met anyone in my own age group. You see, I'm naturally feral. I was then, and as you can see now, barefoot and unsupervised. Growing up in this way, though, it did allow me to let my imagination run my vessel. And so I built forts, I played with sticks, I made up all sorts of games just like in the forest by myself. My dad did show me how to keep my orientation in the bush, so even though I was unsupervised, I wasn't getting lost. And he showed me my first edible plants and berries. But then eventually I had to start public school. And if any of you know what that's like, it can be tough. The kids taught me really, really quickly that I was different, and they treated me as such. And this started a lifelong struggle for me. But one thing stayed the same. Was then and am now most comfortable in the forest. But it's hard for me to articulate exactly how I felt, but there's a poem that I'd love to share with you that does it better for me. So I hope you don't mind me sharing this. This is Breathe by Becky Hemsley. She sat at the back and they said she was shy. She led from the front and they hated her pride. They asked her advice and then questioned her guidance. They branded her loud and then were shocked by her silence. When she shared no ambition, they said it was sad. So she told them her dreams and they said she was mad. They told her they'd listen and they covered their ears. And they gave her a hug as they laughed at her fears. And she listened to all of it, thinking she should be the girl they told her to as best as she could. But one day she asked what was best for herself, instead of trying to please everyone else. So she walked to the forest and she stood with the trees. She heard the wind whisper and danced with the leaves. She spoke to the willow and the elm and the pine, and she told them what she'd been told time after time. She told them that she felt we moved a lot in my younger years. We started on Bowen and we went to England and then to Vancouver and then back to Bowen again. This only exasperated my struggle to connect. I felt lucky when I had one friend, and it was rare more than that. Eventually I started rebelling and I chose flight. By 14, as you know, I was living on my friends' couches, I was running away, I turned to some drugs, I dropped out of school, and I went to the streets. But these adventures did lead me to finding people who were a little bit more like me. And it also showed me what scarcity really looked like and what hunger feels like. By the time I was 18, I'd made a little tribe of friends and I had a boyfriend, and we moved to Vancouver Island. But when we got there, we had no food, we had no skills, we had no money, and we needed food. And I looked around and I was like, this place is lush, it's temperate, and everything here looks like food to me. Like, why can't we eat for free? And, on a visit to my parents' house, I found a book on their bookshelf called Wild and Edible Plants of Bowen Island, and I took it with me. My plant journey really began here, not just out of interest, but also out of a need for survival and sovereignty. This path isn't easy, though, especially with the lesson that I know so many people have been taught, because I was, that all plants and mushrooms can be dangerous and can likely kill you. So little exercise, Show of hands, how many people here have resisted foraging or still resist it based on that fear? Yeah, there's a bunch of us. It was me too. It's hard to shake, right? But we're told that this lesson is there to protect us, because that's why my parents taught it to me. But sadly, it also breeds nature phobia. A lot of people say things to me like, "Oh, you spend so much time in the forest by yourself. Are you not afraid? Like there could be large animals. Again, there's poisonous plants and berries." But what I realized is the most dangerous animal I've come in contact with is standing right here on this stage. And I don't see a lot of us in the forest, so I always feel kind of comfortable. I also can't help but consider that there's something else at play, that they teach us this to keep us in a system that so many of us can never conform to. A type of colonization to keep us separate from nature and locked in like cogs in a machine. An example of this actually exists in our dictionary. The definition of nature is as follows: the phenomena of the physical world collectively, especially plants and animals, and other features of the earth, as distinct from human creations. So take a second to digest that. As distinct from human creations. To me, this is proof that we live in a world that is teaching and keeping us separate from nature. And I don't know about you, but I can feel that I am as much a part of nature as any other plant or animal that I've ever come in contact with. So when I was 8, I had a best friend, and her name was Anna. And she lived on the Capilano Reservation in North Vancouver, and she's a member of the Squamish Nation. And this is an indigenous people, the Coast Salish people in Vancouver, where we live. And this is a favorite period in my childhood. They taught me about community, culture, and ceremony. These are different teachings than I learned in school. They taught me that everything has a spirit. Not just us, but like the sky, the water, the plants, even the rocks have consciousness and should be respected as such. It was pretty confusing being taught by our schools, the institution of learning, that all of these things are inanimate. I was taught to ignore everything, every feeling I had of connection, except for a desire to have more than I need. But here we are, right? We're all pushing back and we're choosing to fight. So it's not just us, though, of course. People everywhere want change. And the problems can feel really big, which makes me feel really small. So I suggest that we start small at home with what goes in our bodies and on our tables. I'm going to try not to preach to the choir too much here, but food security is the ability to have physical, social, and economic access to safe and nutritious food. This keeps our bellies full. But food sovereignty is all of that, with the supreme authority to govern ourselves without external control. This keeps our bellies full, but it also keeps our hearts, our hands, and our communities full, and we can honor our cultural and our human rights. Many things affect food security: inflation, weather, politics, disease. So to be secure, we must take control in our homes and our communities of how and who controls our food. I'm noticing many restrictions coming more common in parts of the world, like collecting rainwater is illegal in some states, even on your own property. Not paying for power, trying to create your own power, solar, if you're not giving back to the grid. I've heard of people losing their property or being fined or whatever. And foraging is restricted for some good reasons, like conservation, but also safety, commercial interest, protection, and even aesthetic values. So how do we move forward to a culture that values sovereignty in this way? Well, we can encourage ethical practices, like ethical foraging practices. We can even encourage conscious disobedience when laws prohibit us from exercising our human rights. George R. Orwell wrote in the novel 1984, "Until they become conscious, they will never rebel. And until they rebel, they will never become conscious." So it's time we wake up, right? Instead of teaching fear, let's teach these safe practices. Instead of saying, "Hey, don't drink that water from that stream, it's untreated, it's going to make you sick," let's say, let's take this water and go boil it for 3 to 5 minutes, and it can be safe to drink. Or we can make and learn how to make water filtration systems from found objects. In fact, if you look at your programs on January 31st at 10:30 a.m., Patrick will be doing a talk about exactly this, so we can even learn it here. Instead of don't touch mushrooms, they're all going to try to kill you, we can teach that the difference between something nutritious and something poisonous is as easy as learning the difference between cabbage and lettuce. And we can also learn that you can, in fact, touch and smell any mushroom, even the most poisonous in the world, without any harm. Just please don't ingest them. If your parents taught you to fear the unfamiliar, they likely taught this to you too. So let's unlearn this generational fear and reconnect to our ancestral knowledge, because this is our birthright. I know, it seems like a tall order. And this is why I'm here. I'd like to offer you some easy and digestible ways to begin exactly as I did. I believe that the first step is to really demystify our surroundings, unlearn that nature phobia and the fear of the unknown with gentle exposure. Set aside time daily, if you can, to be outside in nature, even if it's just 10 minutes a day, but with intention. Don't just go outside and be like, oh man, I should be checking those emails. I don't know where the kids are. I had to do those things. Like, take that time to clear your mind. You can use the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding technique. This is 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. So look carefully at something you haven't noticed before, or look differently at something you know well. But pick things up, hold them in your hand, feel their textures, their weights, their temperatures. Smell the air. What do you notice? Does it smell sweet? Can you smell the leaves? Can you smell the dirt, or even if the rain is coming? Listen to your surroundings. Listen to the closest sounds to you and then the furthest away sounds. How are they similar? How are they different? Identify the sounds if you can. How many do you hear? Then be daring and taste something. Now again, don't ingest things that you don't know. That can be dangerous. But you can literally like walk right up to a tree and give it a good lick, or pick up a rock and taste it. Because what do you notice? Is it what you expected? But this activity will drop you in. It's going to balance your nervous system. Your breathing will calm. Your blood pressure will regulate. And you're going to remember what you already know. And that's that we're not separate from nature. We're all a part of this together. Now that the relationship with yourself and your surroundings has deepened, it's a really good time to try to make a relationship with a plant. Start with something that you know, something simple, like even dandelion, and find a rosette or a patch. Decide and promise to care for that plant. Clear the space around it, decorate, but inspect it thoroughly and look at differently. Like, what are the shape of the leaves? Does the stem have hair? What stage is it in its growth? Is it flowering, seeding? Is it budding? Bring a notebook and write it all down. The location, the season, the date, the time. You can sketch it. And if that's uncomfortable, you could always take a photo and add it to your notebook later. But come back often and repeat this process. If it's distressed, try to help it. You can listen to it, you can smell it, you can inspect it, but document it. When you get home, research it. Use Google. If you have books on plants, look it up. You can learn its scientific, or as I like to say it, sciencey name. You can learn its uses, its folklore, its history. And then you could go online and you could search and see if there's any Witch Betty videos about it. Follow this plant for an entire year. You'll know then if it's annual or perennial. And it'll teach you the best time to use each part of this plant. Like, you're going to see, well, when it's flowering, I can use the flower. Or like with stinging nettle, I've learned that the best time to use the rhizome, which is the runner root, it's in the spring right before it's throwing up its plants, because it's holding the most medicine then. You can do this with multiple plants in a year. You don't have to just focus on one. But don't overload yourself, because you're going to want to absorb what they teach you. because these plants are going to start talking to you now because they know you're listening. They're going to be like, hello, hi, I'm a plant. You see me? I'm a plant. So try to stay focused if you can. And after you've observed it for a full year, sometime around the anniversary is usually when I start to feel confident to use the plant for food, medicine, textiles, dye, and even ceremony. But at this point, you've made a relationship with this plant. You can trust yourself and you can trust the plant. Of course, this is only one way of many to make a relationship with the plant. There's classes, there's workshops, there's guided walks, and there's even degrees that you can pursue to get you a similar result. Now, if fear is still something that's coming up for you, that's okay. There's another way to do this. And you could just start researching and learning the most poisonous plants in your area. So simple online searches will tell you where you live and what the most poisonous plants are in that area. Then go out into the forest or whatever your landscape may be and see if you can find them and get to know those ones first. Because then you can always know what isn't poison hemlock and isn't a death cap mushroom. You could be like, I don't know what this is, but I can tell you what it isn't. And that's going to make you feel safer. But one thing, again, the same, is this is the way to true freedom over our food in the way that nature intended it. Will we get everything we need just foraging our areas? It's not super likely. But if you get good at foraging morels or chanterelles, you can trade those with farmers or fishermen and artisans. You can also preserve them and save and store enough to supplement your food bills for an entire year. But taking the sting out of it financially is really only the beginning of what connecting to the natural world in this way is going to do for you. It fills our pantry, of course, but it also renews our mental and our physical health in ways that are harder and harder to find in the modern world. One of the first plants I ever foraged, and I come back to religiously, is the stinging nettle. When I was 6 years old, I lived in England, and I was riding my bike with some kids. I was wearing my pink gingham summer uniform. And as we're riding along, one of the kids says, "Hey, watch out for the nettles." And I didn't know what he was talking about, but I pretended I did. And I turned around, likely with a smart mouth remark. Turning around riding a bicycle made me turn my wheel. I hit a bump and I landed in that patch of nettles. Now, these gingham uniforms, they're short sleeved. I was bare legged. The pain was excruciating and unforgettable. But one thing I can say is I never struggled again to identify a stinging nettle. And I could see this plant from miles away. I felt like I knew it intimately. And I avoided it because I thought it was evil. Until one of these times of scarcity that I spoke about earlier, I wanted to go to a potluck. And I didn't have any food or money to go to the potluck, and I didn't want to show up empty-handed. And a girlfriend I had who was older than me and probably a little more hippie than I was, she was like, you can still go. Just go out and trim some of the nettles, steam them, and take them as a side dish. I was like, hold the phone, lady. Are you telling me we can eat these things? And at this moment, though, this completely changed my relationship with the plant. And today, the sting doesn't even bother me. I use every part of the plant. And when I was introduced to kimchi, which was later in life than you might imagine, I thought, why are we only using cabbage to make this plant? Do you think we could use nettles? And that became my favorite recipe that I use with nettles. And fermented foods are amazing for our gut microbiome. They're full of lactobacillus bacteria, and nettles are in fact a superfood. They're full of amino acids, which are the building blocks to all the proteins that make up what we are as people. They improve our digestion, nutrient absorption, they reduce inflammation, they support our immune and our endocrine health, and they boost mood and health through the gut-brain connection. Sorry, I just got over a flu. So our gut-brain connection is directly related to homeostasis. That's the system that regulates, everything in our bodies. Our hydration, our blood sugar pressure, our stress hormones. In fact, 90% of serotonin, one of our happy chemicals, is created in our gut. But homeostasis isn't just an ideal state of being, right? It's our body doing the best that it can with what we feed it to find balance. So if we eat fast food and candy all the time, we're going to just crave fast food and candy. Because our body, again, is trying to find balance, not perfection, just balance. So when we start feeding it real food, wild food, it remembers. Our mind clears, our cravings change. I believe these plants are trying to talk to us if we could just learn how to listen. They talk to me by landing me in a giant patch of them so that I would never forget who they are, and then later save me from malnutrition and quite possibly some social inequities. And like me, next thing you know, you're that person who gets super excited about a plant that once violently assaulted you. Something that I think is overlooked is the connection between food sovereignty and community. Sovereignty can be easily mistaken for individuality or self-reliance, but it's deeply rooted in collective care, shared knowledge, and mutual dependence. Sovereignty isn't just about food. It's about power, care, and belonging. This naturally builds and strengthens community. It's also going to push back against that elite plan of divide and conquer. A community that grows its own food can decide what is culturally appropriate, and it can share this knowledge for generations. It's a radical move away from allowing corporations and distant systems from having this power over us. Because food is our most universal bond, right? Like if we go on a date, we're going to have a meal. When we celebrate, we feast. And community builds when we cook together, we share meals, we feed each other in times of need. Because food carries memory, culture, and story. Food sovereign communities can respond better to crisis, natural disaster, supply chain interruptions, climate events. We have better ability to care for our elders and our underrepresented vulnerable people. When we naturally rebel against and reduce dependence against extractive systems. So I'd like to offer some practical ways to build community within food sovereignty. We start with community gardens and food forests. This offers shared responsibility, connection to the land, and shared harvests. Seed sharing circles or events. This is a great way to share knowledge, and it's also one of the only ways I've had the opportunity to learn from elders because it wasn't something that I was offered. One time I lived on this island called Denman Island, which is another one of those little islands in BC. And I went to one of these events and I brought some squash seeds and I was all excited to trade with someone and I'd grown them. And I went up to this woman and I was like, I would like to trade my squash seeds for your beans. And she's like, oh, okay. What kind of squash do you have? And I said, I have some butternut squash and some spaghetti squash. And she's like, and you grew these? I said, I did. She said, and you grew them beside each other? I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, neither of those are those seeds. What you have there is a frankenseed. And I was a little bit like embarrassed or whatever, but she was kind and she gifted me new squash seeds and the bean seeds. And we became good friends. And she actually turned out to be my neighbor. Community kitchens and potlucks. Potlucks and that stuff, it's going to break isolation, especially in the winter months. And like I said before, it's how I learned that I could even eat stinging nettles. It also builds trust in our neighbors and ourselves. We learn new recipes, traditions, we strengthen bonds. Free and affordable workshops. I'm a terrible gardener, if you can't tell from my stories, and that's why I forage. And now learning that foraging and being able to share that with all of you has landed me in this beautiful country on this stage where I get to both share and learn from all of these amazing people. Food sovereignty builds community by restoring collective control over nourishment, reconnecting us to our land and our culture, transforming food from commodity to shared responsibility. But any of us can do this. We can learn to share it on large platforms like I do, or you can share it at home in your communities. Because the biggest thing I'd love you to take away from this is that there are no chosen ones, only those of us who choose. Thanks so much for being here, everyone. I appreciate all of you. And honestly, when it comes down to it, we've got this. Peace.
going for Witch Betty. Keep it going, keep it going. Make some noise for her. Yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna take a real quick break, get some chairs up here because we got a panel coming up, a permaculture panel. We're gonna do a Spanglish panel with our English and Spanish speakers. Let's go play a quick video. We'll be right back.
Which video? L is a double L. Double L. Perfect. Right
that if you're not using your phone, turn it off or turn it on airplane mode. If you're here, you don't really need to get all those notifications. And the kids in the activities room made this awesome sign for us. So big shout out to them for being creative, exercising, their skills. And Ramiro, if you got a second, if not, we'll do it next one. You want to put those pictures up there? And can we get one more chair up here? We're going to have five speakers joining us. Could I get Jen and Sean Hawkins, Edgar, Kurt, and Witch Betty's going to join us back on stage. Let's see. And we will be ready to get going. We're going to hear from our 5 different speakers today who came to share their knowledge. Let me go ahead and get Kurt Nicholson, Edgar Paua, if you're in the room. Witch Betty, we're going to need to borrow her again. And Jen and Sean Hawkins, come to the stage, please. Come join us so we can get this panel going. All right. And then we have, after this, one final presentation from our friends Yoshi and Paula Pantera. And then tonight there's a concert. Who's going to be at the concert here tonight to hear Natalie Rise, Elias Clay, Rhyme Wave, Soul Disciple, Brendan Daniel? It's going to be an awesome night. So I need to get my speakers back on the stage. I don't know if I can do this panel by myself. I can try to do the panel alone, but I don't know if it's going to work out. So one more time, if you guys see Jen or Sean Hawkins and Brother Kurt, come this way. Elizabeth Burdock, Witch Betty, come this way. For this panel, could you tap her? We need Witch Betty. Come on up, brother. All right, we got Kurt. Give a round of applause for Kurt Nicholson coming back on stage. Come on up. Edgar, por favor. Sean, is Jen going to join you? And then we're going to get Witch Betty. All right, got Witch Betty coming up. All right, yeah, let's get a round of applause for these lovely folks. Sean, Jen will be joining us in just a second. Witch Betty here. All right. When I thought about this idea, I was like, could we pull off a Spanglish panel? I think we can do it. Yeah, we're going to do it, right? So the interpreters, again, thank you to our interpreters back there. They're doing an amazing job so you guys can hear all this information. And if you're in the room, guys, we want to invite you to bring the noise down, take the conversations out to the hallway so we can have this final panel. Do I need to call anybody out by name? I can do it if I need to. Do I need to? Adam. Can you guys take that? There we go. All right. Thank you, guys. All right. So when Jen gets here, she can come join us. But all right. So everybody here on this stage has spoken about different aspects of permaculture, from cánimo, from repurposing material to build Rancho Pura Vida. Sean talking about the mushrooms and how to get involved to build the People's Farmers Market. And Elizabeth, Witch Betty, talking about getting connected to plants, which thank you for sharing your story. That was beautiful. And I want to just start with a super basic question. You kind of already shared yours, Betty, but if you want to share any more aspects of it, what was the first experience or your life experience, something that happened, or just the first time somebody talked to you about permaculture or the environment or plants? What was that kind of thing that led you to start even wanting to work with the elements? Maybe we can start with you, Brother Sean. I'm going to pass this down.
Well, what started my journey down horticulture is really, I was growing cannabis in my house illegally while doing construction, right? Isn't that how it starts? I was doing construction at the time, making pretty good money. And then I actually got into a really bad car accident and I hurt my back. I actually had 2 herniated discs in my back and I couldn't walk for about a year. And, you kind of go through a midlife crisis and you're kind of telling yourself, well, what am I going to do? What does my life actually mean? And I was already growing. So it was a really easy path to just sort of grab a book and start really deep diving into soil and plant health. And here we are.
My wake-up call to permaculture was a trace of love from my boy. He took off. Hey, okay. Sorry about that. My boy took off in his early ages, and we converted a VW bus, and he took off driving all the way down South America. And he got lost in Peru for a couple of years. And when he came back knocking on our door on Christmas Eve, a complete torn apart visually. He had rat nests in his head. You couldn't smell. I couldn't believe they allowed him on to travel on a plane or a bus or anything like that. He stunk. But anyway, he passed the love of permaculture to me that he learned when he was traveling through the Amazons and living with the indigenous people. And it was just magical. It just kind of, I knew what permaculture was, in books and this and people doing their projects and studying it for many years. But I really didn't understand what the connection was with the earth. And so that's how I fell in love in that sense.
Muy bien. Okay, pues for me it's more easy to speak Spanish, so sorry. ¿Sí? Ok. Pues bueno, yo la primera vez que escuché acerca de todos estos temas fue muy curioso porque fue por una persona de Hawái, ni siquiera fue por un mexicano, fue quien me presentó el cáñamo regalándome un pedazo de hilo que en aquel momento era un hilo encerado que servía para fumar pipas. Entonces, estoy hablando hace unos 20 años aproximadamente atrás, y de ahí me di a la tarea de poder investigar, o empecé a investigar la relación con el cáñamo, y bueno, me di cuenta que en México es una planta prohibida, ¿verdad? Yo tengo un permiso para consumo personal de cannabis. Cuando yo fui a sacar mi permiso, le dije, pues es que yo no quiero fumar cannabis, yo lo que quiero es sembrar mi casa, quiero sembrar cáñamo. Entonces me dijeron, ok, pues te vamos a dar un permiso para que traigas 10 semillas de cáñamo. Pues dije, 10 semillas, pues necesito 10 toneladas de semilla para poder sembrar bastante cáñamo. Entonces fueron 5 años que estuve batallando con el gobierno y esto y lo otro para poder tener esos permisos. Cuando tuve ese permiso le llamé a mi amigo hawaiano y le dije, oye, ya tengo mis permisos, ya tengo esto, ahora, ¿de dónde saco las semillas? ¿No? Ahora, ¿de cómo le hago? Y bueno, por azares del destino, contacté con unos amigos en China y ellos fueron los que nos enviaron las primeras semillas. Fueron los que nos enviaron las segundas semillas. Las primeras semillas fue un canje que se hizo de comunidades autóctonas de aquí de Michoacán con los grupos también originarios de Estados Unidos. Entre las plantas endémicas que enviaron cannabis para uso medicinal y también nos enviaron semillas de cáñamo. Así fue como comenzó todo mi camino dentro del cáñamo. Al día de hoy tengo conexión con la mayoría, si no es que con todos los países productores de cáñamo en el mundo, y pues me envían muchos de sus productos para tenerlos en exhibición. Entonces, de ahí es que comencé mi camino en el cáñamo. Mi camino en la permacultura y en la ecología, pues afortunadamente tuve la dicha de nacer aquí en este lugar, en este estado, en las comunidades indígenas, donde todavía al día de hoy se sigue practicando día a día esta manera de vida, porque simplemente si no sembramos el maíz, no comemos. ¿verdad? Entonces, es importante pues que esto en lo cual me ha tocado nacer a mí, poderlo compartir. He tenido la oportunidad de compartirlo en Europa, en Asia, en muchos países, a donde veo la similitud que hay, como todos buscamos los mismos beneficios o todos intentamos ir hacia el mismo rumbo. ¿Vale? Entonces, pues ese es mi camino y esa fue la manera de cómo inicié, cómo comencé. Y pues afortunadamente ahora he conocido a todos ustedes que veo que estamos en el mismo rumbo. Gracias.
Well, I told you, most of you, if you were here, but I'm just a dirt squirrel and I like plants. I like to play in the dirt. That's mostly it.
All right. You guys can hold on to that one.
We'll keep this.
Okay. So Jen, did you want to get a chance? We were just asking everybody, you know, what was the beginning of your interest in the environment, permaculture, horticulture? Was there anything specific that, you know, sparked your interest?
I dragged her along kicking and screaming.
I was going to say meeting Sean. Yes, meeting Sean. I was, as like you heard me, I was very indoctrinated into Western medicine. I did not really believe in any of the holistic things, and meeting Sean, I didn't believe in all this. And so meeting Sean and him taking me out into the woods and like making medicine and him helping me like heal my own body, was good. So that's what got me started. But yeah, he did drag me out into the woods. Like that's real.
All right. Well, hey, it starts somewhere, right? Okay. So let's just get right into it. This event is solutions focused. A lot of people who came here to sort of learn about permaculture, get some tips, something you could do at home, right? So let's start there. Everybody just share one. It could be something simple, something big, a tip that you would offer to somebody who's maybe at the beginning of that journey. So I'm just starting.
If you're at the beginning of this journey and you want to learn about plants, get outside. Don't be afraid to get outside. Like I said, spend some time in nature and just get your hands dirty. Find something you know, love it even more, get closer to it, and just do it. Don't wait for that inspiration and hope that, wait for that inspiration and hope that will make you want to do it. Do it, and that's going to create the inspiration to do it more.
Sí, repito, yo estoy de acuerdo con ella. Ya lo dijo Nike, just do it. Just do it. Sí, pues coincido también, ¿verdad? Acuérdense que somos acción, ¿sí? Nuestro cuerpo, nuestro corazón, nuestra mente se rige por acciones. Entonces necesitamos como dar ese primer paso. Siempre todo lo hemos escuchado, ¿no? Lo difícil es comenzar, ¿verdad? Ya una vez que dimos ese primer pasito, se nos va dando y se va abriendo el camino. Entonces, pues coincido completamente, ¿no? Demos ese primer paso.
Exactly. Everything you do has a purpose. Everything around you has a purpose. Look at it, study it. That's where the answers are. And don't worry about your mistakes. Your mistakes help you. You learn and show everybody your mistakes.
Yes, if you don't put the seed in the ground, it's not going to sprout. Until you do that, it's just going to sit there as a seed. I made a bunch of mistakes. I sprouted a whole bunch of seeds and a bunch of them never sprouted. And if I hadn't done that, then I wouldn't be able to grow today. I would say also, if you're just starting and you don't want to spend a whole lot of money on a bunch of like fertilizers and soil and all these things, you can actually remediate your own soil. It might take a little bit of time, but you do use a method called JADAM, J-A-D-A-M. It is from South Korea. It is a very low cost, simple, easy method to improve the health of your soil. And like I said, this type of method can be done in third world countries because the ingredients are so simple that basically everyone already has these ingredients in your kitchen right now. So again, JADAM. It is free online from Young Sung Cho, my teacher and master. And yeah, plenty of great information there.
Okay, and I guess, oh, go ahead, y'all applaud him. No, I think I was going to say getting outside and putting your feet actually in the dirt was something for myself. That sounds so simple, but I had never actually done that. Just gone and sat outside and put my feet in the dirt since I was like a child. So I had no idea like how grounding and how healing that could be. And he did this with me on one of our first dates. We went out into his garden and we were barefoot and it was beautiful, but it got me reconnected to the earth. And then like I felt that healing, and then it was the thing that got the ball rolling, and I felt like I could just continue to build on that. And I think, like I said, doing it, just go do it and try it, and getting outside and getting back connected has been such a blessing for me.
Sean, you got her to take her shoes off on the first date. Okay, so this one is a little different, and it's kind of, we'll just see where it goes. Anybody who feels to respond, everybody doesn't need to if you don't have thoughts, but we're just going to go there. Okay, so this event started in the middle of COVID-19 and what some of us refer to as COVID-1984, and the ways governments responded to it and things like that. And it was sort of a reaction at first, right? Of like seeing this craziness and then thinking like, how can we take care of ourselves? If we can't trust governments and all this stuff, we need to take care of each other. And a lot of different communities were split up and divided because of that. You know, whether you wanted to wear a mask or whether you wanted to get vaccinated. We saw this in the yoga community, spiritual community, conscious community, and including in the permaculture community. And I'm just curious to, and sort of in line with that is, especially in the environmental space, is discussions around climate change. There are people in this room who think climate change is fake. There are people in this room who think climate change is a big concern, right? And we welcome all opinions and thoughts. But I'm just curious if anybody has any thoughts on that, like how the permaculture space, the environmental space has experienced that, or if you've witnessed that, and just any thoughts around that. So just kind of a broad question, if anybody has any thoughts they'd like to share about that, how COVID or discussions around climate change, does that impact your work in any way? Is it something that you see coming up in your communities? And how should people here who are maybe seeing that in their timelines and feeds think about these topics?
Well, I'm not entirely sure of the question, but I'll give you my idea. Is I just don't think that, like you said, we invite all opinions on it, and it's about not living in fear. Let's build communities around it and allow people to feel how they feel, and just do our very best to live closer to the earth and closer to each other, and not allow them to separate us, because when we divide, they conquer.
A ver, ahora sí como los niños. ¿Me repite la pregunta, maestro? Oh, bueno, me llamó la atención algo, lo que dijo Darrell, que esto nació en COVID, ¿es correcto? Me llamó la atención eso. Recuerden de que siempre las polaridades, cuando está pasando algo negativo en el planeta, es porque también se está desarrollando o se está gestando algo positivo, ¿verdad? Son los contrastes que tenemos. Entonces, es interesante y es importante cómo, a pesar de que pasamos por un periodo difícil, ¿verdad? Como humanidad, en los cuales todavía hay muchos mitos, si fue real, si no fue real, pero perdimos a muchos seres tal vez cercanos. Entonces, pues ahora sí que gracias a estas desgracias, ¿verdad? Son gracias y desgracias, que pues bueno, surgió esto, nos estamos reuniendo aquí, y creo que es importante que también llevemos esta palabra, todo lo que estamos aprendiendo y compartiendo, para que cuando regresemos a nuestras distintas comunidades, a nuestros distintos espacios, también podamos llamar esas semillas, ¿verdad? Porque principalmente recuerden que somos semillas que una vez que se van a la tierra, lo único que queda es esperar y florecer, ¿verdad? No sé si era por ahí más o menos, porque me tienen que hablar muy despacio en inglés o muy lento para que pueda entender, pero intento, ¿verdad? Muchas gracias.
Well, a little bit on the climate change issue. More healing interventions does change the way we live. Our environment is our climate. When we live in the societies that we live, that's a climate change. Everything changes constantly. We produce change continuously. We destroy our environment continuously. So yes, climate change is real. We have to adapt continuously. The resources are abused, but yes, we can survive. There are plenty of resources. We just have to relearn how to take care of ourselves. That is a change. That's a climate change. COVID brought so much to that part. It showed us we can live together. I opened up the doors to our ranch and we got in all kinds of people with truckloads of toilet paper to bring to the ranch. So that was nice. It lasted a couple of years, yeah, but whatever. So yeah, people were scared, but we worked through it really neat. And we got sick. We always get sick. I'm sick right now. So it's part of what we are. So humans have to live healthy, have to keep their planet healthy, so we don't have to get shots to live with each other. Yes.
Being in the horticulture industry, this comes up pretty often, and I would say that the agricultural lobbyists have done an amazing job at blaming oil for our problems. The number one polluter is our agricultural systems. They completely have destroyed our soil, which is the recycling system. But don't fear, we do have solutions to this. If we change to regenerative agriculture, it will fix the soil and it will fix our recycling system. The solutions are right here in front of us. We just have to implement them. And if we've seen, little changes are happening. They just designated, I think, glyphosate as a cancer-causing agent, right? So these changes where we're making these connections between certain chemicals and what their effects are and how they're actually mismanaging the environment are starting to come out to light, and regenerative methods are becoming way more popular. And this literally is the solution to our climate change problems. Fix the soil, you'll fix the environment.
Thank you guys for that. We're going to take some questions from the audience. Please raise your hand and I'll run over to you with the microphone. If you've got a question for our esteemed panel, feel free to take it in any direction here. I'll ask one while we wait, but we would love to hear from you. And if anybody at home, if you want to comment, maybe we can get a question from those watching from around the world. So I want to push a little further on the solutions. Question I asked a moment ago, I asked what is the first step? Let's go a little deeper. Most of you said generally the same thing. Get started, just do it. We all know that that's the beginning. But if you could give a specific step. Sean said, grow weed illegally. That's a good idea, right? Okay, if you want to do that. Whatever you think is just one single step somebody could do. They're already started, they're ready to go, but what's a more concrete action they could get behind? Anything come to mind for any of you guys? Start a ranch, Kurt?
Is there a God? Is the way you have to look at that question. I mean, there's so many roots. It all depends what you have. Permaculture is built around what you have, what you can
obtain. Well, let me be more specific then, because you're right. Everybody's in different situations. But I'm going to guess that the majority of people here aren't living in intentional communities and are probably living in the suburbs of the city. Is that generally speaking correct for most people here and most people at home? So let's say that somebody in a suburban or city environment, how do they start embracing some of the things that you guys are doing?
Number one, stop eating meat. Look at the way you manage your resources and use them. Permaculture is about not recycling, about reusing everything that's around you. So that's the most important thing. And look at your diet. Permaculture isn't about going out to a piece of land. It's about embracing it and bringing it into your daily actions, everything that you do, how you drive. If I don't drive anymore, find a way. Look, the small things are big actions. Stop eating meat. It's the biggest thing. And stop using plastic. That's the next biggest thing you can do. There's so much, and educate. Find and learn and educate yourself and others. That's the next thing. And there's so many different ways to study permaculture. It drives you crazy. It doesn't work for everybody. There's simple ways to look at it. Your garden, change it, grow, live a different life. That's permaculture. It's not about going out and getting a piece of land and changing it and doing this and that, living off the resources. People can't do that everywhere. There's not enough room for us out there on the lands to ruin everything. We're not good at taking care of the land around us as human beings. So that's what we have to look at. Permaculture is loving the land, living with the land, the earth, the energy, and the imitation resources that we use around us are choking us. And those are the ones we have to look at in a different way.
So I worked at a hydroponic facility for a little while. We actually did microgreens as well. And of course, growing cannabis illegally, I was growing it indoors. So if you live in a city, if you live in an apartment, you absolutely can grow inside. It is totally possible. You can get some cheap lights, you can get some high quality soil, and just start growing indoors. Start with microgreens, for example. I grew microgreens for 2 years. I have probably planted billions of seeds when it comes to microgreens. It's very easy. You just need to be paying attention, get you a small little tent, get you some lights, get you a little ventilation, look at what the plant actually needs, because it's going to need light, air, water, and just start a small indoor farm. You can get little greenhouses that contain everything, stick in a closet or something. It's very, very simple, and this is a great way to get started. And then once the plants even get too big, you can start selling them to somebody else if they have the space for it, right? Just go to your local hydroponic store. They also do soil as well. We did lots of soil. That's where I learned soil. And that is a first step you can do to getting into permaculture, getting into horticulture.
And one more thing, compost. Compost everything.
Sí, yo agregaría que cada vez que despertamos, pongamos atención en nuestros alimentos, ¿verdad? ¿Cómo comenzamos el día con nuestros alimentos? ¿Qué es lo que ponemos en nuestro cuerpo? También agregaría que necesitamos comunicación, ¿verdad? Recuerden que el principal enemigo de uno es uno mismo, ¿verdad? Y nos tenemos que vencer a nosotros. Ese es el objetivo de muchas culturas, de muchas religiones, de muchas ceremonias. Entonces, cuando comenzamos el día con nuestros alimentos, ¿sí? Es bien importante. ¿Qué es lo que vamos a poner en nuestro cuerpo? Porque eso es lo que va a reflejar nuestro interior. Y así como dice mi compañero, también integrarte a la tierra, integrarte a toda esa energía, al rato ya no podrás dejar de hacerlo, al rato será una costumbre, al rato será algo normal y natural. Y la comunicación es importante también transmitirla, ¿verdad? El conocimiento, transmitirlo. Acuérdense que un agua, un charquito, donde el agua está acumulada y no tiene movimiento, pues muchas veces se pudre, ¿verdad? Entonces nosotros también todo este conocimiento debemos dejar que también circule, ¿verdad? Como los ríos, como el agua, como la naturaleza, para que también podamos vaciar y rellenar, ¿verdad? Tampoco podemos dar todo porque nos quedamos vacíos. Entonces tenemos que soltar para poder recibir. Entonces, importante, pongan atención a sus alimentos.
I forgot the question.
The question was, what would be a more concrete, specific action that somebody could get started specifically at a suburban or city environment?
Yeah, I mean, if you see somebody doing something that you're interested in, ask them, see if you can join. If you're not sure about something, like, I mean, I like the idea of not eating meat, but I don't think that that works for everyone. And not physically, just because of like our socioeconomic places that we live or whatever. But if you have a chance and you do have the choice, at least just try to reject like monocultured farming in anything, in meat or whatever. Remind yourself, think, is it necessary? Does it help? And is it kind?
Okay, great. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. I just wanted to chime in on that. So I mentioned a moment ago, I come from Houston originally, and that's how I know Sean and Jen, just from back in Houston. And I've been involved in urban farming and community gardening since 2010, 2011. I was involved with building one of the biggest farms, urban farms in Houston, and the 5th Ward of Houston, where, you know, it's known as a food desert. There's no grocery stores around. It's gas stations, and that's where most people eat. Predominantly a black and brown neighborhood, lower income. And we turned a concrete slab, brought in 6 inches of good soil, and then over years transformed it to be this amazing place where everybody in the neighborhood had organic food, had access to it. And that just started for me by just showing up. Literally just every weekend, I would go there for a couple of hours, you know, work in the hot Houston sun and get my hands in the soil, get my feet in the soil. And then I got to take home a bunch of greens or whatever they had growing. And I got to see it transform. And so the activist group I started, we made that a weekly thing. Every weekend we did, you know, gardening days. And sometimes we've had 20 people there and it'd be an awesome time and everybody's playing in the soil and laughing. Sometimes it was 1 or 2 of us. But by consistently going there, I kept learning not only how to reconnect myself physically and spiritually to the planet, but I kept learning I learned about hugelkulture. I learned more about permaculture. I learned about tiny houses, just all kinds of things, because the garden, the community garden, the urban farm is a space for creation, for community. And then eventually the cool thing about the story of this place was called the Last Organic Outpost. Eventually we built a little stage, we built a cob oven, and before you know it, this community garden day turned into, there was music and people are making pizzas in the cob oven and we're picking greens, and it just became a space that people wanted to be in. And so I would just say, go volunteer. Go put in 2 hours a weekend at your local urban farm or community garden space, or somebody who's doing a community supported agriculture. Just go get yourself involved, get past your fear, your doubts, your insecurities, and just go try it out. And you know, if you just think about it this way, if you put 2 hours in, even if you're a busy person, you put 2 hours in every weekend. In a month, you've got 8 hours of new knowledge, new experience, you know, and that just continues on. In a year, you've just grown so much. And then maybe you realize, I can put in 2 days a week. I can put in 3 hours every weekend, right? And your knowledge base will just continue to grow. So just encourage you guys to get involved in that way. All right. Any questions for our audience, our panel here, these awesome people? We got one back here. All right, let me go run over here. Make some noise for our panel, everybody. It's a good look at that.
Hi. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. For those of us who want to buy a piece of land, grow food forests, grow hemp, start a ranch, grow food for farmers markets, fundamentally, what would be one of the most important things you would recommend to someone looking to buy a piece of land and start their permaculture journey? Like, for example, for me, it's water.
Water will make everything viable much faster. And look at the geology, how the land's set up. That's immensely important. How the curves of the lands, if it's a flat piece of land, where does the water accumulate from? You don't have to worry about energy sources. You can do that all on your own. That's no big deal. It seems like it's a big deal, but it's not. So, and water management, that is what you need to look at on your piece of land, in my advice. Climate, it all depends where the land is. There's so much missing information that you need to study on the piece of land. I mean, going out and not understanding how the land interacts with its surroundings is what you have to really look at. That would be, for me, the first thing to look at.
Anybody else want to take that one?
You're definitely going to want to test your soil. Get a soil sample, and you need to do a full microbiological test, not just a nutrient density test, because the life is extremely important to how those minerals will actually distribute themselves to the plant. And you also want to do what's called a redox test as well, because we're starting to see that what's called redox meaning the electrical conductivity of the soil is very, very important to how well your plants will grow. So test your soil before you buy that piece of land.
I was going to say test your soil as well, but also just because we're from Houston, there's a lot of places in Houston that are unregulated. And so there's a lot of dumping and things that happen there with chemicals that should not be happening. But because the area isn't regulated, there's no one really making sure that doesn't happen. So for us, when we started to look at property, me and my family, my mom and my dad, we looked for property and we had to do a lot of research and make sure that there was nothing in the past that had been dumped there, or like what is around, because there's not regulation. So you'll have a house and right next to it, you'll have like a refinery, and there's no rules to separate those two. And so that's really important because there's a lot of runoff. There's a lot of chemicals that come off of these plants. And especially like where we live right by the port. So a lot of those people out there, they cannot even have a garden because if they did, it would be poisoning themselves. It's kind of sad, but I think doing the research on the land that you're buying just to make sure that you know the surrounding area and what has been there, at least for the last 20 years. Yeah.
Yes, and also if you do have a piece of land that is contaminated, we have solutions for it. There are regenerative practices that can actually remediate the soil and bring it back to health, even if it is toxic currently. So, just letting you know.
A mí me gustaría agregar nada más algo importante. Siempre que vamos a hablar de tierra nueva y que queremos hacer bioconstrucción o que queremos integrarnos a la permacultura, es importante no generar huella ecológica en el sentido de que vivo en el desierto y quiero construir con bambú. Bueno, el desierto no tiene bambú, ¿vale? Entonces, no vale que tú hagas una construcción con bambú si tuviste que traer ese bambú, tal vez 100, 200, 300 kilómetros, ya utilizaste gasolina, ya estás dejando una huella. Eso no es un principio ecológico, ¿vale? Entonces, sí, antes de seleccionar qué tierra vamos a comprar o dónde vamos a instalarnos, saber cuáles son las características de esa tierra, como decían mis compañeros, para asimismo ver qué ecotecnia es la que mejor se adapta a ese espacio.
All right, guys, I'll just add to that. One of the lessons that one of my several permaculture teachers said to me in terms of choosing land, if you're going to go that, whether it's a garden or you're trying to build something, his strategy was always to find land that needed to be remediated, like Sean said. He said, instead of just going out and finding some perfect, pristine part of the earth, find that old cattle ranch where the land's just been, beat to the ground, and bring it back to life. Bring in good soil, bring in the plants and the trees, and help the earth itself instead of starting out with something fresh. So please give a round of applause to our panelists, everybody. We're going to take a real quick break, guys, and we'll be right back for our final speakers. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Since 2012, the Conscious Resistance Network has been an independent media organization focused on empowering individuals through education, philosophy, health, and community organizing. We work to create a world where corporate and state power do not rule over the lives of free human beings. Our motto is leading by example and helping others in their pursuit of freedom. Visit theconsciousresistance.com to find our articles, documentaries, interviews, podcasts, books, and more. Remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free.
I'm going all the way up. I'm going all the way up. I'm letting go in my heart of everything that holds me down. No. It's a clean slate, got a reason. The horizon is closer than it was. I will be there if you need me. I believe that we can grow.
All right, we're back. How you guys doing? Y'all enjoyed that panel? Y'all enjoyed day 2 so far? Make some noise for yourselves. Make some noise for all the speakers here. We're so grateful to all of you. We've still got one more powerful presentation from Yoshi and Polo Pantera. Then tonight, there's going to be the networking with Logos at 5:30 in the, can we get that? At the hotel. And then there's going to be the concert here tonight where I hope to see all of you. That's starting at 7 p.m., 7 to 9 p.m. So there's still a lot more to get into, plus the workshops. Whew, I hope you guys can keep up. And I hope you're soaking up every minute of it because I don't know about you guys, but Miriam and I look forward to this all year for this moment. So I want to invite you guys. This is the last talk of the day. So if you want to come tighten up, again, if you're having conversations, guys, please take them outside. If you see somebody talking right now, tap them, please, and remind them they're in the conference room. Shh. Take your conversations outside. Let's bring our attention forward. If you want to come forward a little bit, tighten up. We would really love that for our final speakers here. Give them a big warm welcome and allow them to share the message that they came all the way here from Ecuador to share. Thank you guys so much for your attention. Thank you guys. All of these speakers deserve your full attention, and we're so grateful for all of you. We know it's a lot of information. I see you guys taking notes. So, all right, let's do it. Let's take a deep breath together. Release. There we go. Let's get ourselves nice and centered for our brother and sister. All right. Please give a warm, warm welcome to Yoshi and Polo Pantera to the People's Reset 2026.
Sí. Make some noise, everybody. I'm so happy. We are so happy to see you today. It's been a pleasure to be part of this community for many years now. I'm going to ask you to start. Yay. Please come over and let's fill out these chairs. I know some people went for a break. Please come over and let's have that energy concentrated because we're a powerful people here and we want to feel each other's heartbeat in our vibration in that frequency. So please do that effort to come a little bit closer so we can feel each other right here, right now. So yes, I'm going to be spreading some cacao from Ecuador. My brother's going to come and start sharing a little bit of cacao so you can start opening your heart right now and feel the energy of Ecuador, where we come from. So take one little tap. Don't chew it. Just let it melt in your mouth and let yourself feel the Amazon jungle of Ecuador, all that vibration through the cacao, which scientifically means the food of the gods. So this is a Spanglish experience. Paula's going to share in Spanish. So if you want to grab some of those sets so you can understand what she's saying, and then I'm going to be sharing in English. And it's going to be about bioenergy and regenerative culture. You might not be familiar with these words, so stick around because this is a really important, powerful journey about our identity, what we're doing here on this planet beyond just the physical human being, okay? And how this relates to permaculture, nature, and our purpose in life and our existence. So stick around, please. Make some noise now for Paula. Yeah.
Gracias. Siempre es un placer verdadero estar aquí con cada uno de ustedes. Me recargan tanto la energía, es como que mi campo se energiza y pues yo solo puedo entregar porque como recibo, entrego, ¿no? Muy feliz de conectar con sus corazones y hoy quiero hablar un tema importante para que sepamos cómo fluir con la vida, con el gran campo vibratorio que somos. Y pues les voy a invitar a que también me ven a mí y también a las láminas porque ahí hay unas gráficas muy buenas que nos ayudan a comprender mejor. La bioenergía es la energía de la vida. Nosotros somos parte de la vida, entonces tenemos que aprender a maniobrarla. Estamos compuestos, como saben, de nuestro lado femenino y nuestro lado masculino. Cuando estos dos lados se comunican muy bien, entonces podemos manifestar más rápido lo que queremos. Ya no estamos en el viejo paradigma de lucha donde lo femenino se peleaba porque no encontraba su posición, no encontraba su armonía. En cambio, lo masculino estaba así súper rígido porque tenía que sostener mucho la economía, el hogar y a la vez esa inestabilidad emocional, porque al no expresar las emociones y contenerlas se genera mucho estrés. Entonces, antes funcionaba de esa forma. Y digo antes porque ahora queremos aceptar otra realidad, que es una realidad más expandida, donde tenemos mayor energía biodinámica. Entonces, hoy quiero hablarles de unas personas muy importantes teóricamente, porque sí hay que aceptar que pues tenemos una mente, hay que razonar y a veces entender las cosas desde la teoría, podemos incorporarlo mejor, porque hemos sido programados por la mente, entonces por la mente mismo vamos a desprogramarnos. Y estos dos personajes que les voy a hablar son unos grandes maestros de Abya Yala, de América, aquí donde estamos. El primero es Jacobo Grinberg. ¿Alguien conoce a Jacobo Grinberg? Genial, qué bien los mexicanos. Pues un gran científico de acá de México que incluso sentó las bases para lo que ahora está pasando a nivel de sanación energética. Entonces, quiero hablarles de lo que aportó Jacobo Grinberg. Jacobo nos habla de que hay un campo neuronal en todo lo que somos, no solo este cuerpo, sino que aunque no lo veamos aquí en el espacio, hay una latiz, hay una gran red que nos compone. Y esta red no nos separa, sino que nos une con todo. Entonces, cuando aprendemos a maniobrar con esta red, podemos manifestar nuestro espíritu, quienes somos. Y para poder estar en esta comunicación con esta gran red que somos, tenemos que comunicarnos con coherencia, con comprensión. Y esa coherencia y comprensión viene desde adentro. Por eso les hablo de maniobrar nuestra energía interna. Todos nosotros estamos compuestos de energías frías y energías calientes. Tenemos los elementos dentro de nosotros: fuego, agua, tierra, aire. Entonces hay que reconocer, quizás mi cuerpo tiene más fuego en una temporada, puede ser el verano, hay mucho fuego. Entonces, ¿cómo utilizo ese fuego para manifestar quién soy? Manifestar esa energía y según esa energía que tengo dentro, también expresarlo en esta gran latiz. Cuando tengo esa coherencia desde adentro, quien yo soy, con este otro campo que está compuesto de diferentes seres, algunos quizás lo han visto en experiencias ceremoniales, otros lo pueden entender desde la mente con esta teoría que les hablo, que es la teoría sintérgica, que uno crea la realidad, pero también co-creamos con un gran todo. Y por eso estamos aquí aprendiendo permacultura, para saber cómo diseñar con el agua, cómo diseñar con la tierra, con los ciclos naturales. Entonces, mientras más energía coherente, más poder personal tenemos y con eso podemos co-crear en mayor armonía. Esto a nivel cuántico. Ahora, hablando de nivel biológico, para que también lo podamos visualizar, así como es la sangre, imagínense en todos esos glóbulos, esas partículas. Entonces, allí vamos a citar a un gran maestro del cual yo aprendí mucho, que es Roberto Maturanga, es un chileno, y él habla de la autopoiesis. La autopoiesis es la capacidad que tenemos todos los seres humanos, todos los organismos vivos, de autoorganizarnos. No necesitamos tener como un reglamento con parámetros así establecidos, sino que nuestro cuerpo ya lo sabe porque es parte de la vida. Entonces, sabe cómo autoorganizarnos internamente. Eso sí, obviamente, no hay que intervenir en esa organización, porque como hemos estado programados por una organización externa, falsa, negativa, que ya todos sabemos de qué se trata, esa matriz. Entonces, Matrix más bien. Esa Matrix ha puesto otra organización en nosotros y ha limitado esa autopoiesis que cada uno tiene. Entonces, tenemos que sacarnos ese chip o ese hilo que nos ha ajustado a esa matriz falsa y volver a la escucha del cuerpo, donde dejamos que a través del propio biorritmo que tiene el cuerpo, él se organice. Y por eso tratamos de conocernos lo más que podamos, lo más que podamos. Para ello existen varias disciplinas ya ancestrales como son la Ayurveda, la medicina china, que nos ayudan a entender cómo funciona el cuerpo. Les invito a cada uno a que si no lo saben, vean qué tipo de energía tienen. Hay muchos test de Ayurveda y de medicina china. Entonces, cada uno tiene un cuerpo que tiene una energía elemental. Por ejemplo, el mío es más viento, aire, y con esta energía pues yo soy un poco así muy imaginativa, muy idealista y paso mucho en esta creación mental y por eso necesito alimentos que me traigan más a la tierra, alimentos que un poco me alivianen toda ese campo que me voy muy allá, entonces que me traigan más hacia la presencia y por eso escojo alimentos que sean más tibios, que sean más de la tierra, que crecen abajo, los tubérculos. Pero eso me beneficia a mí porque he aprendido a conocer mi cuerpo. Ahora puede que haya otra persona que en cambio tiene una energía así súper fogosa y está todo el tiempo moviéndose rápido y tiene muchos músculos, se le hace fácil ganar musculatura y tiene mucho fuego. Entonces, si a ese cuerpo le alimentamos con chiles, tomates, le va a incrementar el fuego y eso lo que va a hacer es que el cuerpo se va a quemar y no va a procesar bien la información porque va a estar inflamado. Pero si sabe que, ok, tengo mucho fuego, me voy a ir más por la frescura y escoge alimentos que le aporten más liviandad, que relajen esa energía fogosa que ya de por sí tiene. Entonces, va a maniobrar mejor esa energía de fuego y se le va a hacer más fácil plasmar sus ideas, sus proyectos, porque ya no va a estar ahí como sintiéndose mal del intestino, del estómago. Y así también hay otros cuerpos que tienen más energía agua y esa energía agua es un poco más relajada y también se dejan llevar por las emociones mucho. Entonces, estos cuerpos necesitan un poco más de energía fuego para que la pesadez se mueva. Entonces, estos cuerpos necesitan más chiles, más tomates, necesitan hacer ejercicio físico, necesitan también rodearse de personas que les contagien este fuego. Entonces, cuando un cuerpo se encuentra alrededor de otros cuerpos que le benefician energéticamente y obviamente desde el autoconocimiento, sabe cómo administrarse. Entonces, y pone límites saludables. Digamos, si yo estoy rodeado con cuerpos que son muy pesados, así como que todo el tiempo quieren dormir o están cansados, yo como soy tan receptiva puedo estar absorbiendo esa energía. Pero como ya me conozco, pongo límites saludables y digo, no, gracias. Estoy un rato contigo, pero luego me voy a mi espacio personal. Entonces, así aprendemos cada uno a maniobrar la energía. Entonces, utilizando la teoría sintérgica, que es la del campo vibratorio, más la teoría de la autopoiesis, que es la organización interna, vamos ahora a diseñar ese campo que nos permite tener mayor potencial, mayor energía para poder desarrollarnos y cumplir nuestros propósitos. Y eso es justamente ese campo que creamos, es la cultura. La cultura entonces nos permite disfrutar de este plano de la realidad. Y lastimosamente hemos estado en culturas que nos han achicalado, que nos han estrechado, nos han negado quiénes somos, pero también tenemos ese poder de decidir que ya no queremos ser parte de ello. Y las sabidurías ancestrales que ya han vivido tantos años, estudiando las estrellas, estudiando la tierra, incluso antes de que salga la palabra permacultura, estas sabidurías ancestrales ya han diagramado o estructurado esta información. Por ejemplo, en la cosmovisión andina, de donde yo vivo, tenemos la chacana, que es una geometría organizacional maravillosa que nos ayuda a entendernos internamente, pero también a cómo acoplarnos con las demás energías. En la chacana vamos a poder distinguir tres niveles. Uno es el Hanampacha, nuestra conexión con el cosmos, del donde también tomamos energía. Luego tenemos el Ukupacha, que es la energía que tomamos de la tierra y tiene que ver con todo ese mundo emocional, con nuestros ancestros, con los traumas, cómo gestionamos las emociones. Y luego, Hanampacha, Ukupacha. Luego tenemos esta energía que es donde realmente manifestamos que es el presente. Este es el Kaipacha. Y el Kaipacha es nuestra capacidad de acción, conectado con el cielo, conectado con la tierra, nuestra capacidad de acción aquí y ahora. Y esa capacidad de acción presente tiene que estar conectada con nuestro corazón para que esté en sincronía, en armonía. Porque si solo estamos en la visión, en el propósito, en el ideal, pero no tenemos esa raíz que son nuestros ancestros, de dónde venimos, no nos hemos dado tiempo para conectar con nuestras emociones y gestionarlas. Entonces, este Kaipacha, esta capacidad de acción aquí y ahora, va a estar floja. No se va a poder lograr con precisión y éxito. Por eso tenemos que estar bien conectados al cielo, bien conectados a la tierra, para entregarnos con todo el corazón. Y por eso las manos están aquí a esta altura, porque todo lo que hagamos tiene que estar conectado aquí desde ese centro. Y esa es nuestra verdadera economía. La economía no es como el dinero que se cuenta y eso son finanzas, ¿verdad? Pero la economía viene de ese poder personal que tenemos para dar y para recibir. Y en la chacana aprendemos también eso, son los principios fundamentales. Aini significa reciprocidad. Todo ser vivo, organismo, cuando está en esta conciencia del Aini, que es la reciprocidad, sabe dar y dar y dar, y así también recibir. Entonces, ahí tú captas más energía. Mientras más das, más energía positiva tienes. Y mientras más te contienes y mientras más te individualizas, entonces tienes más energía negativa. Entonces, ahí también tenemos una forma de gestionar la energía, en la ley del dar y el recibir. En la chacana también tenemos el equilibrio de lo femenino y lo masculino, que no solamente es como yo Pola y yo She, no, separados, sino que yo estoy compuesta de esas dos energías. Entonces, cada día hago este diálogo interno conmigo de, ok, ¿cómo está mi masculino? ¿Qué está logrando mi masculino? ¿O qué está restringido? Y así también mi femenino. Entonces, me doy ese tiempo para hacer que conversen, porque ningún intercambio energético con el campo cuántico o con el campo interno va a funcionar si no estamos en comunicación. ¿Me pones, porfa, la lámina de alimentación, la pirámide que está la pirámide, muy importante, porque el 90% de la energía que tenemos la tomamos de los alimentos. A ver, pónganse a pensar, ¿cuánto tiempo invierten en cocinar o en comer? Se van a dar cuenta que es lo que más tiempo utilizamos, el comer. Entonces, por eso tenemos que ser muy conscientes en cómo maniobramos esa energía de los alimentos. Me gusta esta lámina donde dice, ¿quieres una pastilla para solucionar tus problemas? Pues esos problemas con pastilla no se van a solucionar a largo plazo. Pero si en cambio pones esta gestión de las energías elementales y tomas los alimentos que tienen más luz y más vida, que tienen más electrones, porque están hechos de la tierra misma, entonces ahí sí vas a conseguir una paz duradera, radical. Y nos han enseñado en la pirámide convencional de la matriz que primero son los carbohidratos, porque se supone que esos nos dan energía. Pero no es así. Realmente lo que nos da energía primerito, apenas nos despertamos, es tener un tiempo de silencio para conectar con la fuente, al cual en español yo le llamo Dios amor, porque no le quiero poner ningún tipo de sexo. Entonces, Dios amor integra lo femenino y masculino para mi observación. Entonces, si conectamos de primera con la fuente Dios amor, entonces vamos a tener esa energía bien puesta y ahí se gestionan las emociones y ahí se genera la visión y el propósito. Cuando estamos bien sustentados con esa base que es la fuente, Dios amor, entonces ya pasamos al siguiente nivel de alimentación, que es los ritmos circadianos. Hemos estado en un ritmo acelerado, con la hora, con el calendario. Ese es un ritmo que nos ha domesticado, ese es un ritmo que nos ha puesto en ansiedad, en competencia. Entonces hay que salirse de esa cuenta del tiempo, porque esa cuenta es la que nos mantiene esclavos, y entrar a un tiempo no tiempo que tiene que ver con los ritmos que ya nos muestra la vida misma. ¿Cuándo sale el sol? Ok, vas leyendo el sol, ya no mires el reloj, eso es parte de la programación pasada. Mira el sol, mira la luna y así compréndete, porque allí vas a encontrar ese equilibrio, esa armonía que puede equilibrar tu cuerpo. Homeostasis es esa capacidad de estar en equilibrio. Entonces, después de que ya tuviste tu tiempo con Dios amor, en conexión o con el ritmo de los ciclos circadianos, ahora necesitamos movimiento. De allí tomamos energía. Entonces, darnos media hora, una hora de movimiento es fundamental. Ahí tomamos bastante energía. Luego, el siguiente nivel de nutrición en esta nueva pirámide regenerativa que les propongo es conectar con los elementales. Ya saben, muchos de ustedes, el contacto a tierra, descalzos, el tomar agua viva. ¿Cuál es la diferencia entre agua muerta y viva? ¿Alguien sabe? Sí, el agua muerta es un agua que está pasiva. El agua viva, en cambio, tiene una molécula más de hidrógeno y una molécula más de oxígeno, H3O2. Entonces, esta agua viva está en abundancia en las frutas. Ya tienen esa agua estructurada, significa que está organizada, que si ustedes le ven en un microscopio, es hermosa, tiene unos fractales bellísimos. En cambio, el agua muerta está toda desordenada y son las aguas de botella que además tienen contaminación de plástico. Entonces, cada vez que vayan a tomar agua, háganle un vórtice, háganle vueltas 33 veces y pues ya a las moléculas del hidrógeno y oxígeno les mueven y ya se estructura. También actualmente ya hay tecnologías que estructuran el agua. Entonces, así empezamos a nutrirnos con la vida. Luego ya vienen las cosas más densas. Acuérdense, primero somos energía, luego materia. Asimismo nos alimentamos, primero de energía, luego de materia. Entonces ahí ya lo que más nos da energía son los vegetales, las frutas, que tienen todos esos electrones súper radiantes Y hay un mito sobre la proteína, que tenemos que comer tanta proteína, pero realmente nuestro cuerpo necesita aminoácidos. Los aminoácidos ingresan a nuestro cuerpo y nosotros mismos convertimos en proteína. Entonces, entrar a una nutrición que es más cuántica, elemental, celular, y sí, luego ya al final, bienvenidos los carbohidratos. Cuando no entramos a esta organización elemental, ¿qué pasa? Que hay demasiado desorden y ahí vienen unos ayudantes que yo no los veo como negativos, sino como unos seres funcionales, que son los parásitos. Cuando no estamos en orden, entonces vienen los parásitos. Y pues la mayoría, todos, estamos programados a través de los parásitos. Les invito a todos a que por lo menos 2 veces al año hagamos una desparasitación, pero profunda, no solo a nivel del cuerpo biológico, sino también energético. Cuando queremos desparasitarnos, es importante que soltemos la radiación, los teléfonos, las antenas. Mejor si nos vamos a un lugar más tranquilo en la naturaleza para que podamos limpiar bien el cuerpo, porque mientras más radiación hay más parásitos. Sí, bueno, y ya finalmente quiero contarles sobre las 5 pieles. Las 5 pieles de un autor austriaco me gusta mucho porque Hattenbader se pronuncia. Él es un artista, un arquitecto, y nos da esta explicación de cómo diseñar nuestro campo energético también. Y él habla de que hay 5 pieles. La primera piel es la interna, adentro, nuestra conexión con nuestra alma. Entonces, por eso, como les decía, si queremos conectar con nuestra alma, darnos más tiempo de meditación, de escucha, de silencio. Luego, porque de ahí viene todo, si no está ahí ese centro bien fortalecido, no se puede seguir extendiendo la energía. Entonces, la segunda piel es la personalidad. La personalidad se manifiesta a través de nuestras ropas, de lo que nos ponemos, de lo que usamos. Y escojamos. Realmente aquí la industria ha hecho un trabajo para mantenernos todos iguales, todos normalizados, utilizando siempre lo mismo, con telas tóxicas, poliéster. Entonces, vamos a escoger unas ropas en esta cultura regenerativa que les proponemos, escoger ropas que realmente se identifiquen con quiénes somos, con nuestra identidad, con nuestra alma, con aquello que queremos expresar de nosotros mismos. Son códigos, son símbolos que son una extensión de nuestra alma. Entonces, vamos a escoger las ropas orgánicas, fibras naturales que apoyen a los artesanos, al comercio justo. Luego tenemos la tercera piel, que es nuestro hogar, nuestra casa. ¿Cómo diseñamos nuestra casa? Según cómo sea nuestra casa, se va a desarrollar nuestra creatividad. Entonces, si tenemos unas casas que son cuadradas, que no tienen ninguna belleza, ningún orden, asimismo nos vamos a sentir estrechos y no van a fluir las ideas ni estas ganas de manifestarlas. Entonces, si tenemos un espacio bien organizado, un espacio que nos aporte armonía, belleza, entonces allí pues va a surgir ese ser creativo que somos. Esa segunda piel también nos expande nuestra energía. Tercera piel nos expande la energía, la construcción de nuestro hogar. Y ahí pues ya hemos aprendido el manejo del agua, cómo utilizar la tierra y también cómo poner límites saludables con esos sectores que no son tan positivos. Por ejemplo, si es que hay unos vecinos que tienen basura, pues en mi diseño voy a generar quizás una pared verde o voy a generar una cerca viva para que mi campo energético no se vea irradiado por esa fealdad, digamos, o esa brutalidad. Entonces, diseñamos nuestro hogar, nuestro campo, tratando de que nos aporte más belleza, energía. Y de ahí la quinta piel, que la cuarta piel, perdón, que es nuestro espacio sociocultural, son nuestras relaciones, lo que estamos entregando en nuestra comunidad, la economía que generamos a través de los lazos de confianza. Les decía, el AINI, la reciprocidad. Entonces, cuando diseñamos nuestras relaciones, más bien las escogemos y las escogemos por frecuencia. Entonces, vamos a tener también mayor energía de acuerdo a las personas que nos rodeamos. Por eso me encanta este lugar, porque aquí tenemos personas súper positivas que están accionando y eso nos eleva al campo vibratorio a todos. Y luego la quinta piel es nuestra relación con nuestra gran madre cósmica, Pachamama, Tonantzin, que no debemos olvidar que estamos dentro de este gran organismo autopoético, que si nos conectamos con Pachamama, vamos a encontrar una misión, un propósito, un sentido de vida. Y ese va a ser justamente lo que nos hace sentir autorrealizados. Entonces, les invito a que vayan diseñando esos campos energéticos que empiezan desde adentro y se van extendiendo, y que a través de estas observaciones, ok, ¿cómo está mi identidad? Esto que también podríamos llamar ego, pero el ego no necesariamente es negativo, puede ser también positivo. El ego también tenemos que diseñarlo para que nos aporte, porque el ego nos cuida, el ego nos dice, hey, por allí no vayas, es peligroso, o nos dice, dale, tú puedes, avanza, sigue. Entonces, no estigmaticemos el ego lo podemos regenerar, hacerlo saludable. Entonces vamos cada vez evaluando cómo está ese adentro, luego viene la siguiente capa, cómo está esa expresión de nuestro ser a través de la identidad, cómo está nuestro hogar, y así vamos a tener mayor energía. Eso es lo que les proponemos aquí con cultura regenerativa. Diseñar nuestro espacio interno y externo para que alcance el mayor potencial. Gracias.
Un aplauso, por favor, para Paula Pantera. Sí. Gracias, amor. So, she was talking about, at the end, ourselves, our identity, from our soul to our expression of our body through our clothing, and then our surrounding environment, our home, and then our community and social cultural aspect, and then, of course, Mother Earth. Now let's gonna go deep together. I'm gonna be taking over the stage right now. Gracias, Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
So,
thank you.
This is a big question, and I did this a couple years ago. Is who am I? Who are you? So with the cacao that's still in your body, open your heart. Let's close our eyes and touch your heart with your hand for right now, just a few seconds, and feel the heartbeat. For those online, please do the same. Feel your heartbeat right now. What's that rhythm? Is it fast? Is it slow? Is it strong? Is it subtle? And ask yourself, who am I? What am I? And take a deep breath in. And now open your eyes. And if you have a partner right on your right side or on your left side, whichever you feel comfortable, let the other person know, who are you? In 30 seconds. Ready? Online as well. If you have someone online next to you, or ask yourself, or write it down, who are you? Say that to that person right next to you. Remember, you're further more than just a name.
Hágale.
Maybe you go to a retreat and you go through a transcendence experience and you find out who you are when you thought you were someone for so long. Now you can switch to the other person if you haven't yet. Switch to the other person, share, who are you? Or May be a difficult question for some. Finishing up at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we come back to the center right here. Thank you very much. Maybe you didn't finish, it's okay. It's a really profound question that we are still discovering ourselves, and it's an infinite discovery. It's a mysterious way to understand who we are and what we're doing in this world. With that said, when I was born, I'm in Ecuador. My mother put my name Joshua. Right now I'm Yoshi, Joshua, Yoshi, Joshuita, right? It's a mix of Spanglish. So Joshua, and I'm in Ecuador, and I'm in school like a little kid. What's your name? ¿Cómo te llamas? Joshua. What? What? And people couldn't pronounce my name. I didn't feel identified. I didn't feel connected to my culture in Ecuador. They couldn't pronounce my name. I love my name, Joshua, but then it evolved. I started using Josue, then I had nicknames. So the name, my last name also, comes from my ancestors, Sainz Negrete. I go to Ecuador and you can see I have a beard, I'm all white, and most of the Ecuadorians have brown, they're shorter, more indigenous-like. So I'm not from Ecuador, really. My ancestors are Spaniards. I'm part of the conquistadores. So please forgive me to the land of Abya for my grandparents. I'm sorry. Please forgive me that my great-grandparents massacred a lot of the lands. I'm sorry about that. I'm aware. I can see it in my skin. I have a full energy of power. I knew I could have gone to war. I wanted to be in the military. I was a G.I. Joe fan when I was a kid. So am I identifying to that now? No. I used to like killing. My nephews like killing right now in the video games. What kind of culture is that? A killing culture? Then we observe right now in the United States a consumption culture. Do I identify myself to that? I go to the United States with my name. Hey, I'm Joshua. And then they see I have a Latino aspect in my accent and all this. And they're racist too. I'm suffering racism in my country and then in another country, and then where am I from then? So I have a situation of identity and culture that I've been having trouble with. With that said, can you put the slide, what's happening here? My brother's gonna slide over there. With that said, I want you to see this video. And then we're gonna come back to this slide right here. Por favor, el video. This video is from indigenous culture in Ecuador, talking about 500 years ago and their identity. It's a 4-minute video. Please check it out. We did this video in 2018 and the work we do with the Amazon jungle community over there. So from where I come from, my growing up with this colonial aspect that I discovered in my life, that I've been finding myself in this.
Napoya cooperation, Napoya cooperation, Napoya cooperation, Napoya cooperation, Uray manda perishin, Atoya cooperation, Napoya cooperation, Awa in Shayaspi, Napoya Puskota, Upisha Shayani, Upishan Shayani, Napoya cooperation, Uray manda perishin, Atom Pola Pundaibe. Shayarish, Kaimachi, Kaimachi, Rikosha, Shayashan, Wambori, Shayarin, Napoya, Pishkoga, Napoya, Puskota, Upisha, Shayani, Kaimachi, Shayani. Recuperar nuestra identidad cultural de hace 500 años atrás, nuestros ancestros lo tenían, ¿no? Tocaban flauta cuando hacían minga, luego por la tarde hacían la ceremonia de chicha, baile, y tocaban la flauta, y ese era el instrumento musical para ellos hacer la fiesta. Mi meta, mi sueño es con nuestros hijos, con nuestros niños de esta comunidad, y también de otras comunidades que vengan acá. Estamos invitando a ellos también para que sean partícipes de este proyecto, para tener ese instrumento musical, esa costumbre ancestral que nuestros antepasados tenían, y eso, nuestro sueño es recuperar todo eso con nuestros hijos, ¿no?
Ñukanchi munanchi kay cabaña akangoybi ñawpaktama ringawa y pay ñawpaktama wiñarichu ninchi cabaña akango y ñukanchi kawsayta ñukanchi wawakunata yachachingawa ama payna kungarinawchu nisha y masta paynata rikuchinata ama payna kungarinawchu ñawpa rukukuna kawsayta.
The dance, the artisany, the language, the lifestyle with nature connected. You saw a kid climb up a tree. That tree is really tall. I can't climb that tree. He can. And I don't see my nephews never doing that because they're so addicted to games. And it's sad that most of the world is like that. And I'm here for the kids. I'm here for humanity, for us to keep existing with love, with prosperity. There's enough for everyone. What are we doing now? For thousands of years since the beginning of humanity, we still kill each other. What stupidity is that? Where is our consciousness? And it's still happening. And it's normal now. So the importance is, what can we do right now? The basic. Know who we are, what we're here for, and stand up and take the best action that we can. So 500 years ago is this important aspect, por favor, el slide del águila y el cóndor, the eagle and the condor. Abya Yala is the name of the America continent coined by indigenous culture in Panama. And now all the indigenous cultures know about this name of the Abya Yala. And they've all of them talk about the prophecy of the eagle and the condor. And what does this mean? Maybe you've heard of us talking about this before. The eagle representing the north, the mind, the reason, the power, has been oppressing the condor for these 500 years. And the condor representing the feminine energy, the heart, raising up at this time, saying that the eagle and the condor are going to fly together and a new humanity is going to be born. And this is the time right now for us to stand up, to fly together, because we have so much power that's dormant It's unconscious. We have been oppressed and we don't even know how. Have you ever noticed when you go to the bathroom and you do your situation, you sit down and you're long enough there that you don't smell yourself anymore? You don't smell, it doesn't smell bad anymore. Because you got used to it. You got used to the smell of your own crap, right? We've been so used to the crap that we've been living that we don't notice the crap that we have. We don't even know that the crap can be composted and become healthy soil. We're the only animals in the planet, and the cat and the dog, that does not use the crap for regenerating the soil. We are contaminating hundreds of thousands of liters of water every day. And that's a big problem. Clean water, drinkable water, living water. So having a compost toilet is the most radical ecological thing you can do, and also the most basic. If you're not doing that, we're not moving anywhere. Why? Because if we're not using our feces to regenerate the land, we're not part of the cycles of life. Because every time we eat the fruit, we plant the seed, a tree grows, and I poop, and the birds poop, and all the animals poop, and we regenerate the soil, and more life exists. If we're not doing that, so how are we participating in the regeneration of life? One single thing. Another thing. Time. Since the moment we created the watch, we lost track of time. Time was in the essence in our body. We know what time it was by feeling the sun. Maybe it's cloudy, but I can feel where it is. I can wake up without an alarm. I know it's time to go to sleep. I know what time my neighbor's gonna come because he's always on time. I don't even know how. He doesn't even know what doesn't even know what time it is because there's no watch. The moment we created the GPS, we lost the sense of orientation. And the more we get comfortable with the technology, and now with all this AI doing everything for us, what are we here for? I love technology, but the way we're using it, it's ridiculously stupid. So let's not be trapped in that ignorance of disconnecting ourselves from nature, from the land. So one of the most important aspects I learned from the indigenous cultures is to understand our nature of connecting to the land. And if I think I'm spiritual, but I'm not connected to the land, that's not being coherent. If I'm spiritual, but I'm not eating healthy, that's not coherent. So there's an alignment. Please step forward with the coherent slide. Next one. If I'm not in alignment with my spiritual self, my body, and the land, I'm not in synchronicity with all life. So here I present with you regenerative culture principles that allows you in your daily habits to help you fine-tune into the synchronicity and the coherence of all life. Principles like composting, principles like where's your dollar going, who are you supporting? Let's not even use dollar. Let's create our own coin, our own economic system. Because all this power and oppression is based on us giving that power to them and telling them, hey, just keep oppressing me. I like to be a slave. I like to be comfortable. We're not here to be comfortable. A lot of people think that living the best life is being comfortable. No, the more uncomfortable we are, the more we learn about ourselves and the power that we have. So let's step up and get out there. Eleanor Roosevelt, do one scary thing every day. Get out there and do the most scariest thing you can be scared for. Take an ayahuasca ceremony and let's see what darkness you can find inside yourself. You don't have to, but it's an example of many ways how to confront the most darkest inner self that you can ever imagine, because all of that fear is us creating it. Once we find the most darkest thing inside of us, we're not have fear of anything. We're infinite beings. Next slide, please. Now that we understand that we can practice principles within ourselves to better our lives, let's expand that to our society and our culture. So a regenerative lifestyle or regenerative living is us taking that action and making sure that every day I'm part of a regenerative movement, regenerative culture. Regenerative education, where do I have my kids educating? Regenerative economy, where am I supporting? Or do I create my own coin with my own community? Regenerative business is the business where the production comes from. How is it producing its products? And who are you supporting? We got regenerative technology. There's so much great technology, the above phone, the above laptop. There's also Proton Mail. Stop using Google, please. Stop using Apple. There's so many options. There's so many options. It's doing the effort of getting uncomfortable and getting out there and find the right tools. There is governance. There's so many ways to make decisions together as a community with no hierarchy, listening to each other's needs, making sure everyone is supported. Regenerative arts and music. There's so much art and music that is low vibration. Let's raise that vibration. Music, conscious lyrics, conscious vibrations, 432 hertz. Come on, let's explore more ways of expressing ourselves. All of us are here to create in the most expressive way from our hearts. We're all artists here. Let's make that happen. Regenerative spirituality. There's a confusion of what spirituality is. There's so many religions that divides us. But spirituality is accepting who we are and what we're here for. And being coherent in alignment with the frequency of life, with that quantum field of energy that just now the scientists are trying to understand. But the ancient wisdom, our ancestors knew, the indigenous cultures. Next slide, please. So the eagle and the condor prophecy is bringing together the awareness of the power that we have with the North and the South. The North, reason, technology, logic, amazing. But let's balance that with our heart from the South. Meeting here in Mexico right now, it's amazing because we're bringing all those energies together. That's the importance of what we're doing here. So we have a project in Ecuador before 2020. Paula and I were building our eco-village project with the indigenous community and all this amazing work. But then 2020 hit right when we came to visit my mother in Florida, and we stayed there. And we're grateful to stay there. I don't know how the universe helped us stay in Florida because Ecuador was bad. They were spraying, you come out of the bus and they were spraying you with all kinds of Clorox and all kinds of stuff. And the people were just very scared about what was happening, the government and the people. Everyone was, it was chaotic. So I was grateful to be in Florida, very chill, no masks. We were living the life there for the time being. But then we realized, what are we doing here in Florida then? Oh, we're activating regenerative culture. We started building community over there. Soon after, we met Derek and John Bush here for the People's Reset, and then Mexico came about, and then it hit us. Wow, we are activating the prophecy of the eagle and the condor through regenerative culture. So now we have projects in Ecuador, building community, eco-village lifestyle projects, as well as in Mexico. There's amazing places here that I've been meeting. We've been to some lands. Derek's having the Agora. There's some others in Tepoztlan. So you have options, not only land, but people and community that you can resonate with. You can start your own or you can join, talk to us. And then I also have community in Florida, and there's projects over there as well. So that's activating that prophecy, becoming aware of it. Maybe you're doing it already, but now you can impact even more because we bring all this energy about from 500 years ago with this prophecy. Next slide, please. And I'm going to talk a little bit about our story. For the last 4 years, we've been coming here, and you don't have to start from scratch. This is Rio Muchacho. It's an organic farm for 35 years old. So suddenly, Paula and I are working from the scratch on our land and everything. And then we connected with our elders, part of our network of the permaculture movement in Ecuador. And this is the first permaculture farm self-sufficient example from Ecuador. And they're older now, and they want to retire. Now they're living in New Zealand. Dario is from Ecuador, and Nicola's from New Zealand, and now they're older enough and their kids in their teens, and they want to retire. So they're selling the property. It's a 10-hectare land. You can sleep right now, 30, 44 people. They're cabins. There's so much going on over there, and we've been living there for 1 year since last year. We just moved. It's like, oh my goodness, wow. We don't have to start from scratch. We have food forests, we have cacao, we have coffee, we have jackfruit, we have lettuce, tomato, beets, carrots, and local fruits and veggies. I didn't even know that because it's in the coast of Ecuador, very unique. And then I learned that we're in the middle of the tropical dry forest and the tropical humid forest, and we're right in between, bringing diversity of birds and different animals from both climates. So the whole year that we've been there, we saw the boa, big snakes. I saw one dead, unfortunately. We saw all kinds of animals, the toucan. We got the monkey, which is a howl. When you see that, it's like, whoa, what's happening? It's amazing to feel that energy and all those sounds. And then suddenly we were driving by and a feline came through right in front of us. Small feline, panther-like. And I'm like, mama, did you see that? Yes, I was like, wow, it's so magical. When you see that kind of life, it just fills your heart with life, more life, right? So it's beautiful to be there for a while. But let me tell you, it's far away from everything. You don't have the whole city near you. We have to work a lot to get the rest of the food that we need to come over. But that's hard stuff. But what did the elders before me did? They didn't even have roads. They were doing it by horse. They did a lot of work. They opened a school for 17 years. 2 generations of kids from the local community learning how to understand the eco lifestyle, because most of the area there is cattle farming. So what's happening with the story? Please step the next slide. That's a little bit about what's it look like right now. Next slide, please. That's the current design. It's 10 hectares. I can tell you all about it. Next slide, please. So here, it's a little bit about what you can see, but it's nothing like if you were to be there. Some of you already went. We do our retreats there sometimes. But the challenges are great as well. I can say, let's buy a property. It has a waterfall. It has beauty, diversity, and everything's done. And it has the food forest and it has the garden. I can say that. Let's move. Let's buy it. But the reality for the year that we've been living there is so challenging. There's so much problems. And I can say, oh, I don't want to live here. You know, the neighbors have cattle and there's some ticks. That there's a season, there's a bunch of ticks, and I like find ticks in myself. That's a problem. I don't get a disease. It's not the type of tick you get a disease from, but it's a problem. Then the what's it called? The ardillas. ¿Cómo se dice ardillas? Squirrels. The squirrels are eating the cacao before we even get there. I love cacao, and they're eating the cacao. How can we solve that problem? So there's those problems. And then it's so much humans that the cabins are needing maintenance, and then a tree branch falls down and breaks the roof, and maintenance. There's so much stuff happening all the time. So I can say, oh, I'm not living here. It's too much for me. Like, Paula left. She's like, I'm out of here. Just kidding. Well, kind of true. So what's happening is we're not used to that lifestyle. We're so comfortable. We are so comfortable. But once you're there for a year, you realize, okay, I'm a regenerator. You could put me in a desert and I'm going to find a way to figure it out to green this space up, because I'm not here to be comfortable. Yeah. So the challenge is, and the invitation is for us to come be part of this project, because we can do it, and it's going to take a while. But what if we are a group of people? Let's do it together, right? Next slide, please. Almost done here. And this is, you can see the picture, Dario Nicola. That's us talking almost every week. Lately, we've been busy. Next one. There's so many challenges in that land, but this is what's happening. Universities from Ecuador are coming with dozens of hundreds of kids coming to the farm to learn about regeneration, to learn about culture, the local culture. They're not even aware about their local culture. I can even tell you this. They're in their teens and they're scared of the chickens they eat. They're like, oh, there's a chicken. There's a, oh. Are you serious, brother? The chicken is scared of you. Come on. So it's important to understand for us humans to be out there in nature and remember that we're nature. Paul is coming like tree there. So there's all these universities coming every month to learn about regeneration and be part of the land. So this project doesn't make any money, unfortunately. We need to build infrastructure in order for it to sustain itself and regenerate. So we're talking about different types of soil, and that's what's the most power of this land is the different types of soil. But we also have so much space for production, but it's so complicated to get all that food out. So there's abundance of food that we can't even eat. All kinds of fruits I already mentioned. And next slide. And now we're going to build a sanctuary here. It's called Raíz, means roots. Raíz Eco Village. Raíz Sanctuary. And we have 9 different types of business ideas that we can make basically a living off, so we can together produce, from restaurant to retreats to lodging to wellness center, music studio. There's different ways. Next slide, please. Going back, we can repeat that to different areas. So it's a blueprint that we can repeat. Of course, each place is unique, so don't fall into the blueprints that every place has to be the same. Every place is unique. Next slide, please. Now, this is very important. We can all do our own homestead or our own eco-village, but we can't really make any change if we're not in a network of eco-villages or communities to exchange goods and services directly, not only physically, but also creating our own coin. With all the technology existing right now, we could create our own coin, and that's what we did. Please, next slide. We have a coin in Ecuador called Muyu. It's a social coin. It's not a crypto coin, but it uses on the phone. And only us in the community, 155 people, are using it. Not only in the coast, but also in the Quito, in the capital, and the jungle area as well. So what's happening is that we can exchange goods and services with our own coin. We have online market and physical markets. Next slide, please. Make some noise for the local economy. Come on. Next slide. I want to talk about seeds of consciousness. I started this project in 2014. That's where I met Paula. And the importance not that we're doing it and also in Mexico and the US, I want to invite you to expand the seeds of consciousness, not only with our retreat, because our retreat is a little taste of what we're talking about here, but also go to other projects like with John Bush over in Texas. Maybe he has a community over there. Derek Bros over here, and everybody that we've been talking. I know there's great projects everywhere you are around with. Just open your eyes and connect and take action. Next slide, please. I want you to take these actions with you if you haven't done this already. The first one is to design your bioenergy, what Paula was talking about. Design your life better. Surround yourself by the environment. Let me tell you this. When we grow up, our personality and the way we dress and the way we talk is based on our surrounding environment, our culture. I dress like in my culture. I eat like in my culture. I listen to the music like my culture. But I'm also in the consumption culture, in the destructive, contaminating culture. And I want to redesign that so you can do that. You can redesign your culture. Regenerative culture, right? So the second thing I want you to take with you on that list is to build community, but not necessarily the way you have to have it. We have to learn how to listen to each other, how to communicate. So understanding how to make decisions together. So there's a step forward on building community. However, don't be afraid. Even one person is a community. Talk to your neighbor, expand that awareness. That's a really impactful aspect of how we can grow, building community or joining a community. Wherever you go, I have many communities in my life. It's not just one. I'm in Mexico, I'm in Florida, I'm in California. Wherever I go, I can build community and I can stay in touch and we can do things together. Next part, build soil and start a local economy, like I mentioned, and we don't have to talk about that, but we already know. Next slide, and this is an announcement. I want to invite Derek Bros for our big announcement coming up, because we want to expand that awareness, and it's about community. So there's so much happening here in Mexico with this movement of the People's Reset, and so much happening in Florida that I realized, hey, let's do a People's Reset in Florida. What do you think, man?
We're going to make it happen this November.
Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah. There's so much about regeneration that's happening. Next slide. And we're going to bring the gathering together. It's a gathering. It's an event that's happening in Portugal for the past 2 years. And we're going to bring different movements together. This is more of the freedom movement. Next slide, please. We're bringing the vegan movement. We're bringing the peace movement. There are infinite elements. We're bringing different movements together. It's not just the People's Reset, but definitely the People's Reset is going to be the head jumpstart for this experience. So I want to invite you, if you know people in Florida, if you want to come to Florida, if you live in Florida, let's make some magic happen. Thank you so much. Next slide to finish this up. Please take action with us. If you have your phone, slide in there and connect. We have the workshops during here in Mexico. We have right after the nutrition workshop with Paula. And we have the regenerative leadership workshop. And then we have the seed retreat right after this. So please take action. It doesn't have to be with us, but the time is now. No pressure, but the time is now. Thank you so much. Make some noise, make some noise, make some noise.
Yes, everybody. Give a big round of applause to Yoshi and Paula Pantera. Our final talk of the evening. Go check out Paula's workshop. All right. Thank you guys so much. We're going to get ready to close out the stream, guys. Definitely check out all the workshops as we wrap up here. Thank you, everybody at home. I just want to make, again, another announcement. If you want to go to the networking, the Logos networking, that's happening at 5:30 p.m. at the Hotel Lounge. All the workshops are going to start beginning in the green space, in the hotel rooms, activation room, manifestation rooms. And if anybody is interested in the ayahuasca, which is now being offered, the master will be here tomorrow to discuss that, so you can find out more about that. And by the way, if you're not in our Telegram group, there is a community group. Who's on the Telegram channel? The channel itself, there's a Telegram channel and there's a Telegram group. So there's two different places. If you're looking to get plugged in, that's the best place to be. We're going to show one thing before we go. I want to show you all the awesome things the kids have been doing over in our Freedom Families Connection Room. Look at these awesome, amazing. This is really what it's about, guys. You know that, right? These next generations, these young ones, this is what we're doing all this work for, to build that better world for them, so they have a world where freedom and sovereignty and individual liberty stay alive. Let's make some noise for the next generations, the coming 7 generations and beyond. That's what this is all about, guys. Thank you to everybody who's been going to see the kids. Thank you to who brought your families and brought your kids here with us. And that's going to do it for today. Day 2 of the People's Reset is done. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.
Our power is in our voice. Our power, it's in our thoughts. Our power is in our actions. Our power, it's already innate in who we are. We are the earth. We are the sky. We are the trees. We are our ancestors. We are the future generations. We are all that is.